Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy game day. It is game day across the Delaware Valley. Oh, yeah. It's here, baby. Eagles-Falcons, Monday Night Football. Welcome in. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, and we are presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union, TrueMark.com/PHLY to see the credit union difference. All right, man, we cannot wait, man. They got a game. Week 2 in the NFL, wild, right? Absolutely wild. Anarchy as across the NFL yesterday. Will it continue tonight? No A.J. Brown is the big story. A.J. tweaked his hamstring, and you can't mess around with that. You can't mess around. You can't force it. You got to let him heal properly. He's one that you need long-term, especially now that you see the landscape of the NFC. All of a sudden, who we thought were juggernauts, we're not. And we're going to get into all that stuff, but tonight's a big test, all right? Now, historically, the Eagles' offense has struggled without A.J. or Devontae or both, as we saw last year. So it's a big test. Now, the one difference is you have Saquon Barkley. So a huge to be able to sit back and come down, and you have Saquon to kind of help get you through it. And I'm a Jahan Dotson fan. I think Jahan Dotson will play a role tonight. He should get. Remember, he didn't get a ball. He didn't get 2 targets or whatever, but he didn't get any catches, and there was no plays called for him. Nothing came close to him. Tonight will be a different story. He's a speed guy, so that should help. It'll be an interesting game tonight after we saw strange things, the stranger things of the NFL yesterday. We'll start off with the gleeful moment that took place in Dallas last night and yesterday, as we saw the Saints, unbelievable, just go up and down the field on the Cowboys. They destroyed them. It was like the Packers from last year in Dallas after they beat the hapless Browns. Now, we know about the Browns' offense because that was on display again. So as much as we thought, oh, my God, the Cowboys' defense is the truth, is it? Because yesterday, my God, that was not Drew Brees, all right? That was a man named Carr. And he was between Alvin Kamara, 3 touchdowns, Shaheed, who's their speed guy, and, of course, Chris Olave. That Saints offense is no joke. Eagles will see them next week. But they destroyed, absolutely annihilated the Cowboys in a big way yesterday. That grabbed headlines. The Vikings, second game without McCaffrey, who's headed to the injured list. They lose to Sam Darnold at Minnesota. So the Vikings pulled a dramatic upset yesterday where you just saw like, oh, my God, the Niners, a short week, they lose. It was such a wild day. The Rams get buried by Kyler Murray and Gannon. And the Cardinals yesterday, the Ravens lose at home to the Raiders. The Dougie P's 0-2. The Lions is another one. We thought the mighty Lions would listen. I was shocked. Tampa's defense really kept them in check, and the Lions, they go down at home to the Buccaneers. The NFC South, who we were all kind of sleeping on, flexes the first 2 games of the season with Tampa and the Saints. Pretty wild. Green Bay, I didn't see that one coming, man. Green Bay is able, with Malik Willis, is able to beat Indianapolis. Just a crazy day. The Giants in Washington both stink in a game of field goals. The Giants lose their kicker. They're a mess. Washington's a ways away, so there's no worry there. Eagles right now can absolutely flex. They can flex in the conference. Big happenings yesterday. That's a big deal. So the Eagles can flex and own the conference. Now, again, it's 2 weeks, but it says something because we're learning, right? One of the things that we learn over the first month of the season, the first 4 games, is you get an idea of a team. And so it was a big deal that the Cowboys get blown out at home, Detroit loses, San Francisco loses on the road against Darnold. So some big happenings. You got to watch, man. If I'm Sirianni, first thing I'm telling them is we got to be buttoned up. We saw what happened yesterday. Atlanta profiles as that team that could come up and bite you, right? A team that was completely disappointing on offense last week. Well, it changed across the NFL. We'll see about tonight. So lots to get excited. We're going to get fired up. We'll cover the game every which way. Zach Berman will give us an update about A.J. Brown, what it's going to look like. We'll talk to Fran Duffy to kind of look at the matchups, go inside the game a little bit. Joe Buck, who's calling the game for ABC, Monday Night Football, will join us. So it's game day in Philadelphia. There's nothing like it. I was down this morning on Good Day Philadelphia. We were in South Philly outside on Packer Avenue, outside Chickies and Pete's, and the tailgate's already started. It's already started. I smelled the smoke, the tailgate smoke. It's unbelievable. Game day here is special. So we're going to have a lot of fun with it. I don't want to lose the Phillies because a statement series, another one, ensued over the weekend. We all got a little nervous after Friday night. And Nola giving up the 2-3-run homers. And the Mets were hot. They put up an 11th spot and then jump out to a lead until Bryce. And that was a great signing. Bryce, how about that? 2 home runs on Saturday. So a great sign that Bryce is out of the power slump. He was hitting the ball. So just a matter of time before he gets a little lift. 2 home runs. And then yesterday, Sanchez was terrific. So the beauty of Sanchez is if Ranger's not right, I think you got to be quick to that decision. And all of a sudden, Sanchez is your number 3 starter and you work Ranger out of the pen. I think that's kind of where I want to kind of judge it, see how Ranger's throwing. But I could use him. You know, he's that guy that you can throw at any time, at any place. And if Sanchez gives you, he was terrific yesterday. He gave you 7 innings, 6 hits, 7 strikeouts. He was just masterful. Great performance yesterday in that win. So the Phillies, how about this? They're now 9 games up in the division against Braves and Mets. They wrapped that up. They're 2 games up on the Dodgers and 4 games up on Milwaukee, best record in the National League. Man, it's just they're waking up, man. They're playing some really good ball over the last couple of weeks. So I don't want to lose the Fightins at all. Lots to get to. Let's talk to our friends. Good morning, JP, John Zapata, DG Violations, Greg. After a murderous Sunday across the NFL, not a lot of survivors in the survivor pool.
I'm so glad I don't play those.
They're the worst. They're horrible. They really are. I mean, who thinks? I was out last week because I had the Bengals over the Patriots. I'm thinking there's no way New England's going to win in Cincinnati, right? This week I would have had Baltimore, right? Because Baltimore is going to be going to beat the Ravens. But any of them, Dallas, like look at all the favorites that lost yesterday.
Minnesota and San Fran. Who would have? I mean, Steve said it this morning. Who would have thought that one?
Now I will say this: the Brain did say he was all over Minnesota.
He was all over that.
I've seen people giving out tweets. The books are so happy about this weekend, but Brain was 4 for 4. I'm pretty sure on his pro picks.
Yeah, well, the Brain is that. That's why he's a sharp guy.
Yes,
that's why he's on the side of the books on stuff like that.
Yeah, he bet the under on that terrible Steelers game. That's one of his bets. I can't do that. I can't bet the under.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a wild week, but a great week for the Eagles, boys.
Yeah,
because the Cowboys get destroyed. You saw San Francisco lose.
Right.
You saw Detroit lose at home to Tampa. So the big powers of the NFC all lost.
Yeah. Not to mention as well, I mean, you saw the Giants and the Commanders kind of beat up on each other. You don't even have to worry about those guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They had a pillow fight.
And there's new powers. The Vikings are a power. The Saints are a power. These teams going to continue this run.
I mean, it's 2 weeks. I can't.
You got to be kidding me.
I can't anoint Darnold. Now, the Saints are different in that they have a good offense, right? Like they have, I mean, Olave's legit.
Yeah.
Shaheed is a really good speed guy, right? So there's ability there. And Kamara has always been a great player. 3 touchdowns yesterday.
I feel like Carr never ever gets roses either. And you know, we were talking about that this morning too. Like he does get poo-pooed a lot, and like he's been through some tough situations, but he's always had that arm talent. I just feel like he's never had the right situation, and this year could be that right situation.
You protect
For 2
them.
weeks.
I mean, that's part again. But you're right. 2 weeks. Who knows? The Eagles will see. My only point is, we all believe in this Eagles team.
Yes.
So we all believe in them, and look at them. Right now, all of a sudden, you know, you could again. I'm not trying to be early, but still, it's nice to be able to flex a little bit within the conference.
Yeah, this conference looks. Listen, that Cowboys was amazing yesterday. That was the best part of the day. I mean, I'm pretty fired up. You're fired up. You're throwing coffee around. We're ready to go tonight. The Eagles win tonight.
Throwing coffee around.
Yeah, super excited, pounding on the table before we started.
I was pounding on the table, doing my idiotic thing that I do, and then coffee just.
It was awesome. I had the Phillies on, and I had the Cowboys on the small screen.
That was awesome. Dude, that was awesome.
Cowboys got smoked. It was like 35 points in the first half.
They got destroyed. It wasn't like the Saints beat them, but they got just annihilated.
They couldn't catch their breath in that first half.
Oh my God! All of a sudden, I thought the same thing. I'm like, wow, they got a good defense, man. That defense is no joke, and just absolutely annihilated. That's fantastic.
The Cowboys fans were gone by halftime, guys.
Oh, it was great. So yesterday, Moscow had a football game. So I'm at the game, and I see one of the dads, and he's cowboy head to toe, the hat, the jersey. So I can't resist, right? It's the second quarter, and whatever it was, 28-3, whatever it was. So I sidle over. I go, how about them Cowboys? He's a week 2, cuz. So there you go.
Week 2.
There you go, Eagle fans. There you go.
Even though week 1 they were winning the Super Bowl, right?
I know, Andrew. You're right.
Week 2.
You're right. Oh, you can't say that. Let's see how y'all do tomorrow night. Let's see that. All right.
They defending Dak today.
What's that?
Are they defending Dak Prescott today, the Cowboys fans?
They were horrible. But your defense, though, they got riddled.
Yeah.
I mean, they got riddled.
Kamara averaged 5.8 a carry. What's Barkley going to do to this? If that's the way they're playing the rush.
Exactly.
115 yards from old man Kamara.
And Carr was darting down the field. You know, balanced offense. It's one thing when you beat up Deshaun Watson, who stinks, and the Browns offense, but now you go get real weapons. It shows you something. All right, but what do we look at? What are we feeling for tonight? All right, because the big news over the weekend, A.J. Brown ruled out.
It's big.
Now, we've seen them. A.J. Brown is so vital to this offense. He's not only just a great player, but he's Jalen Hurts' comfort blanket, right? Like his security blanket.
If you're Devontae Smith tonight, you got to be chomping at the bit, right? You're going to see a lot of looks.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to need him.
Yeah.
They're going to need him. But, like, you know, AJ is a big deal because people, you know, during that, they did that player poll in the NFL, and they were talking about overrated quarterbacks. Of course, they said Josh Allen was the number 1 overrated quarterback. Jalen was number 2. And the quote from an unnamed player was, well, how hard is it to throw jump balls up to A.J. Brown?
Right.
Well, guess what? I go, Jalen, listen, perfect night. Monday Night Football, right? Perfect night to stick it up there, Gigi.
Yeah. It's now that we got Barkley, it's a whole different thing. You know, without that, it's a loss, but this is just a pounded game tonight. It's the legs of Barkley and Hurts. I look back at last week. Najee Harris got 70 yards against these Falcons. Justin Fields ran for 57. I think Hurts should be out and about a little bit tonight. And I think they take over the game. Time of possession.
You got a great O-line.
Great O-line.
When that battle
grounded pound type of thing. But listen, you know what Atlanta's going to do, right? Atlanta knows this, so Atlanta's going to stack the box. That's the game, right? The game is always the safety, right? The safety is always the game. What are you doing, right? Are you going to bring your safety up? Are you going to go 8 men in the box, 9 men in the box?
Yeah.
Are you going to crowd the line of scrimmage? That's been how teams are going to play the Eagles.
Yeah,
they're going to pressure Jalen like we saw. Even against Green Bay, they're going to try to do. The Atlanta's going to try to do the same thing and crowd the box.
They had that mindset last week because I know Justin Fields of the Steelers. There's not much respect for him passing, and so they were focused on stopping the run game, and they weren't effective against the Steelers, who have a mediocre offensive line.
Right.
Yeah.
Eagles better offensive line.
To your point about AJ Brown, it does feel at times that he is kind of like the security blanket for Jalen. Like you'll see at times when the offense is slumping, trying to find AJ to get a spark going. And you saw in week 1 as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. He's a dominant player. AJ Brown is one of the most. It's weird because receivers get all the love in the league,
right.
And he's one of the most underrated. Jefferson's special, and we saw it again yesterday. And Tyreek Hill with his blazing speed, and you go on and on and on. AJ Brown never gets the love. I think the adoration and the flowers of how great he is. Like he's a great receiver.
I would agree.
He's not as flashy, but he's the perfect combination to me. He's good
T.O.
speed.
That's amazing to me.
Physical,
yes.
great hands. Like he's not going to gash you for an 80-yarder for the most part.
But we saw him with the Jets last week. Yeah. He could put the Jets on.
I don't know where he found that speed, man.
No, but listen, he's fast and he's strong as all get out.
So strong.
His hands. He's got such strong hands, and he uses his body.
Yeah.
He's great body, right? So he knows how to, use his body to. We live for that.
Great body. He's got a great body.
Well, are you 12, Andrew?
I'm sorry.
You're asking a guy dressed up like a pirate this weekend.
Seriously, it's game day. Can we refrain from being children on game day?
Game day.
I just want to talk. I want to talk football. I don't worry about you. The guy who went to a freaking Renaissance fair,
dressed as a pirate
on a football weekend, is busting my stones because I said AJ Brown has a great receiver body.
No, you didn't say receiver body.
Well, great body.
Yeah, great body.
For a receiver, which
and he uses that body.
Which apparently,
yeah, he does. No, I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying.
You've lost your privileges. You're out. You've lost your privileges. You're not. If you're going to talk football, then talk football. But you lost your privileges.
I think our big dudes up front in the middle. Cousins can't move. We saw that last week. He's not 100% with his motion,
right.
So I think pressure up the middle would be traumatically devastating for Cousins
let's get some
tonight.
sacks, boys.
Well, let's think about this, right? Because a couple things. One, you need this defense, right? This is going to be an interesting thing. We saw some dormant offenses wake up yesterday.
Yeah.
So, you're going to need this defense. I'm curious to see what we're going to see. Jalen Carter has to be the beast because everything has to revolve around him. And I know we're all looking for a Huff.
I know.
Right? We're all looking for some Huff.
Huff should have a big. When you saw
and Jordan Davis,
we saw
man.
what Watt did
They're
against
going to try to run the ball, man.
Yeah.
Come on, Jordan Davis. Need you on the field.
Yeah.
Right? Need you on the field.
In the second half.
Yes. Not huffing and puffing on oxygen, man. Got to have you on the field. All right. Lots to get to today. The Brain is coming up with an early look at the game tonight, tell you who he likes. And we got to do a lot of stuff. I want to tell you about Primo Hoagies because tonight's a party night, right? It's one of those nights everybody gets together. You're hanging out. So what are you going to do? You got to get Primos, right? Primos, the party tray is the perfect item for guests because you get those slivers of joy, those hoagies whacked up, and you can get whatever you want. You say, give me an Italian, give me, traditional, right? Italian, the turkey, the ham, whatever, and you whack them all up. Or you could go different. I'll take the cutlets, and I'm going to take the Old World or the Diablo, whatever you want. And you whack them all up, and there's a big tray of hoagies, toothpicks. You grab them, boom. Nothing better than a toothpick, right? They have all the pickies, the pepperoni and cheese, all that stuff. And download the new Primo Hoagies app right now. Enter for your chance to win a year of free hoagies. Now through November 15th, when you download or update your Primo Hoagies app, you can enter their new sweepstakes where one grand prize winner will win free hoagies for a year. Enter through the app So make sure you download it and hurry before it closes. You can go to primohoagies.com for all the details, or to order your trays at your nearest location. You'll say what I would say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo.
I love it. You bring like the Godfather to the Primo. We whack them. We don't cut them up. We whack them.
I was
you
awesome,
whack them
cuz.
up. Whack them up.
Yo, whack my hoagie up.
I got Steve the Pirate. All right.
I'm gonna whack these
And
allergies.
I got hit with the whacking.
I'm gonna whack these allergies
The
right
burnout
out
hit
here.
me with the whacking.
Yeah, man. These allergies are brutal. It never ends. I can't even get through a day without some meds, and thank God Rite Aid is there to help me out. So fall allergies are here. They're going to be here probably just eternally. The main culprits, ragweed, mold, plants such as sagebrush, tumbleweed, and pigweed, dust mites, dander, fur, ragweed, all of it. Runny nose, watery, itchy eyes, wheezing, can't think right, maybe a little dizzy and foggy. So what do you do to get relief
Sort of
during
what
the allergy
Steve the
season?
Pirate does to me.
yeah. I mean, you're definitely allergic to them. I have an EpiPen just in case he gets out of control.
Can I stab him? Instead of stabbing me with it, let me stab him with it. Right in the forehead.
So, hey, man, if you want some help, sign up for Rite Aid Reward emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive emails about high pollen and allergen alerts in your area. Shower frequently, especially after the Ren Fair. Check your pollen counts. Keep your windows closed. Use your air conditioning. Over-the-counter options are available at your local Rite Aid. Try a nasal rinse to flush out those passages. Antihistamines such as Claritin and Zyrtec are available. And you can also hit up your nose with those nasal corticosteroid sprays like Flonase and Nasacort. They got those name brands and their own Rite Aid brands available. Still not enough relief? You can ask your Rite Aid pharmacist. If you need something else, maybe a decongestant might be necessary. Who knows? You can always ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for recommendations on ways to get relief during this treacherous allergy season.
All right, buddy.
Hey, we got to check in Matthew Haas in the chat. By the way, the Renaissance Fair was trash. $9 beers, jam-packed, food overpriced. Don't go if the woman drags you.
Oh, he doesn't know how to live.
All right, dude,
go
we're
to a
not doing it.
Phillies
No,
game.
we're not doing it. We're not doing it. It's game day. All right? Be quiet. You've lost your privileges. I'm not joking. All right? Like, you've lost your privileges. It's game day. It's serious. Football's serious, is it not?
It's very serious.
All right? So shut the bleep up.
Go Birds. Go
As
Birds.
Big Farts Jones says, Captain Scurvy Steve.
That's the truth. You got to be
Captain
kidding. All
Scurvy
that. Then he wants to go on about the Renaissance Fair. All right? Shut up. Shut up. You talk too much. You never shut up. Let's go to the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
There he is, the brain.
He got business. He got the blazer on.
Oh yeah, he's going. He's flying. He's at the airport. Brain,
Yeah, well, I'm flying. I'm at I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm going to
Move the camera
sorry, I'm
over.
trying to get this camera. I'm trying. I'm going to I'm on my way to Philly right now. On my way to
Yes.
Philly at the airport. So looking forward to being back into my favorite place.
Yes, you'll be on the Eagles pregame show.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right.
Oh, snap, really?
Oh yeah, he breaks it all down.
Hey, he was looking. He's been looking good lately.
Yes.
I wouldn't go that far.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's like a
Freaking big-
model. Did they put his head on
Oh
a
man,
model's
all
body?
right, man. It's funny. I gotta. Jesus, she got me again. All right, man. I give you guys credit, man. You get these photos of me.
Don't sidetrack him. You sitrack him early in the segment.
sorry.
You wait till the end for that.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I mean,
Wait till the
I-
end.
man,
That's
I-
what you gotta do with the
Jesus
Pirates.
I was too excited to
You
share.
gotta stop. Wait till the end.
I'm gonna kill her, man. I'm gonna
You
kill
guys
her.
are killing me today.
Jesus.
It's freaking game
They're-
day.
I mean,
You're showing model pictures of the brain. I want to talk football. All right, yesterday, great job. You're the one who took Minnesota. You said it all week. Minnesota, the Vikings. You're going to laugh at me was the
Yeah.
quote. And you were 100% right.
It's interesting, Anthony, and it's funny. It's funny. What Minnesota does have, Anthony. One thing the more I watch football, that I really think I mean, obviously quarterback is king, but you know what I really think is the next most important thing? When you have a good offensive line, it is the best
More
deodorant.
important than a quarterback.
Yeah, it is the best deodorant you could ever have because, Minnesota has a very good offensive line, and you see, they're able to run the ball. They can protect Darnold. It it just really makes everything go smoother when you have that in your thing. And you know what? Listen, I thought it was a good spot for them in the sense that San Francisco was coming off, obviously, that great Monday night game where everyone's patting them on the back. And let me tell you something, Aaron Jones also fumbled the ball, Anthony, going in for a touchdown at the 1-inch line.
Yeah.
So that could have even been a lot worse than it was, quite frankly. Minnesota's the real deal. I bet on them to make the playoffs at 3-1 odds. They have a real chance, I think, to be like a really good team all year. I don't think it's a fluke. But I got to tell you, the thing that actually was surprising, Anthony, what about the craziest stat you've ever heard in your entire life? Did you hear when they said, your guy, Pringle's car, 15 possessions, 15 scores? That shocked me probably more than any stat I've ever heard in my life. I'd go that far. That to me was like, because car to me is, again, you very pedestrian, being kind. And I was surprised that New Orleans.
You give him a line, he's got great weapons. So here's the thing. Their weapons are really good. They're elite because Shaheed is a terrific
He's a game breaker.
Guy. He is. So when
He's a game breaker.
If I'm building a team, after my fronts, right, and obviously the quarterback, the guy that makes the most difference in a game is the speed guy on the outside, right?
Deshaun Jackson types, yeah.
Yeah, because it just creates so much speed on the field. You saw with Tyreek Hill, and he's done it forever, right? He adds Worthy to it now. Like having a guy that speed on the outside changes everything. So now you have Olave, who's terrific, right?
Yep.
You got Kamara. So they have a pretty formidable, crew right there.
And Taysom Hill, and I like again, Taysom Hill to me is that Swiss Army knife that in a goal line situation, if it's 3rd and 1, he's going to get a first down, probably even more than Jalen Hurts. Okay, and he can, he could be an option player. So they have a lot of. You're right, they have a lot of weapons. But that being said, man, I got to tell you, I was so happy to see. I love when Dallas loses. I was surprised that Dallas lost by 25 points there. But again, from an Eagle point of view, that was great.
Look, I thought their defense was legit, right? I mean, forget it. We all know Deshaun Watson's no good, but
of course,
like they dominated. Right? I'm like, all right. I mean, they went up and down the field on them. It was unbelievable.
They absolutely did. And it was great to see from an Eagles point of view. This is a real chance to get a 1-game lead, which would be huge up in the division with Dallas losing a game. These were exact comparable games, Andy. We're comparing apples to apples. They were a 6-point favorite. Eagles are a 5.5-point favorite, basically. So these were the same kind of games where you're about a 2.5 to 1 favorite at home. You got to win those games. So hopefully they can do it. And I got to tell you, Anthony, it's interesting. Just some of these rookie quarterbacks, man, I thought Bo Nix looked really good in the preseason, but man, is he struggling?
I think he's different. It's like you watched the Bears last night, and you look at Caleb, and he was better than he was in Week 1.
Yeah, but still,
right? Like he still tries to leave.
They gave him too much credit. They gave him too much credit. The announcers.
That doesn't work in the NFL.
No, I mean Stroud's a special player, but but when you watched, Caleb again, just too many mistakes, and Jaden Daniels can't pass the ball. I'm like, I know he's 23 of 29. I don't think he threw the ball more than 4 inches downfield. I just cannot believe how bad some of these rookie quarterbacks have looked, and this is theoretically the future of the league.
Nasty these DCs are no joke. Like they know how to devise. It just shows you how special. Even Mahomes got picked twice yesterday.
No, Mahomes, and look again. You talk about a gift, right? 4th and 16, you're right there, and you just bang into. I think it was Rashee Rice. He didn't need to do it. He was right there in position. It loses the game for them, but that was a miracle win. They got a defensive touchdown. Spags came up, did it again, but. Miracle win for Kansas City. That was a tough loss for Bengals. I feel bad for them. They really outplayed Kansas City yesterday, but weren't able to get it done.
All right, so let's analyze tonight and how you're doing it. Well, let's look at before we get to the props. Let's look at the side and the total. So Eagles right now, like you said, 5.5-point favorite on the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. Of course, the brain is our man when it comes to the Bet Park Sportsbook analyst. So how do you look at the side?
Well, Anthony, it's funny. The one thing I've said on your show probably 20 times, okay, and we're going to finally see it tonight for the first time. I said, what will happen if this team loses A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith? Because especially A.J. Brown, because I think he's better than Devonta. But I'd like to see now they obviously added Barkley, but I don't love this team's receiver group without him. Again, I think he is one of those best 5 receivers in the NFL. What will happen? How will their team look without him? And to me, adding Jahan Dotson, again, I don't think that's getting to heaven. I'll be honest. Look, it's funny. This line was 6.5, Anthony. They moved the line 1 point when A.J. Brown's out. Let me ask you a question. If you're gambling, would you rather have the Eagles minus 6.5 with A.J. Brown or minus 5.5 without him?
Easily. I'd rather lay it with
Right.
6.5. It's not even close.
Exactly. It's not even. You just said it. It's not even close. Look, I'll be honest. I leaned Philly before the A.J. Brown injury, but I'm going to lean Atlanta now. I am. I'm going to make the Eagles prove it to me that even with an amazing running back and a very good wide receiver in Devonta Smith.
Well, that's my counter, right? My counter is you're much better equipped to handle no A.J. Brown now.
They are.
With Barkley and I'm curious to see Dotson, right? You know, he was on the field. You're shaking your head, but I mean, he's got legitimate speed. All right, he's not Quez Watkins. He's an upgrade from Quez Watkins.
I'll make a long shot pick. I won't be surprised if Covey has more catches tonight than Dotson.
Well, I'll tell you about.
And the odds on that.
I'll make you this wager. I'll take Dotson's yards against Covey's yards.
Well, they're not even listing Covey because he's a huge underdog to even get a catch. But I'm not thrilled with Dotson. I hope you're right, Anthony. I'll be rooting for him as an Eagles.
I just think he's an upgrade to what they had.
To what they had.
He's an upgrade to Quez Watkins, and he's an upgrade to Covey.
Yeah. Well, again, to me, look, I have the Eagles to win the division. I have Atlanta under 9.5 wins. So I will be rooting, actually 10.5 wins, but I'll be rooting extremely hard for Philly tonight, Anthony. But again, look, for tonight's game, just about tonight's game, 5.5 points, that is still a pretty decent sized number. Now, look, we saw Kirk Cousins, probably the worst game, Anthony. I don't think this is an exaggeration. The way he looked was probably the worst he's looked since he became an NFL starter.
I was watching yesterday, and the offense
you watched the tape.
Struggled, right?
Yeah.
Like, it does scare me a little bit that is there a bounce? Like, do they put it together? Like, because I think Cousins is better than he showed last year.
He has to be better than that. And Anthony, listen, this is the team, and again, that has theoretically, Barkley, they have Bijan Robinson, Drake London versus a Devonta Smith, Kyle Pitts versus a Dallas Goedert, Darnell Mooney's. It was somewhat of a big of a game breaker. It used to be on the Bears at least. But like, to me, again, I don't think this is going to be an easy game. I don't. I think it's going to be close. And again, in close games, when you have a difference maker like an A.J. Brown, Anthony, to me, that's a huge thing. I'm going to lean here. The Falcons getting the 5.5 points. Think the Eagles win a close one. I said the Eagles. Whoa! If the Eagles win a close one, who cares?
No, I hear you.
Who cares? I think the Eagles win a close.
Just busting.
No, I don't see that. I don't see that. I really don't. And I'll give you a couple props, guys, that I think are worthwhile. Mostly on the Falcons side. One thing that Raheem Morris said, Anthony, he kept talking about it. He goes, this isn't last year. He goes, we are going to involve Bijan Robinson. That's why Arthur Smith got fired. 18 carries week 1 is over under Kemp's is 14.5. I see no reason, none, zero, zilch, why he will not get those same 18 carries tonight. He is their team. The way Barkley got 24 carries week 1, I say Bijan Robinson gets 18 plus carries tonight, laying 14.5. I think that's a gift. And I'm going to say Drake London, Anthony, 55.5 yards. God, excuse me. Horrible first game, but listen, this is a guy in every fantasy league for you guys who do fantasy, was taken stone cold second round every league. 55.5, I think, is too light. I say Cousins, who's had success against his Eagles team too many times to count. His stats against the Eagles have always been solid. I say Drake London gets 56 plus yards tonight. I actually think they're two bell card players will be heavily involved.
All right. No birds
props on birds, guys?
Excuse me, guys. Apologize, guys. I thought the numbers were accurate. I really did. They made Barkley opened at 68.5. I like the over, but it's now like 75. I made it like 75. Dallas Goedert's 4.5 catches. Devonta Smith, 74 yards. These are exactly the numbers that I made them. So, like, as I always say,
I know.
I'm doing this to make money. I think Darnell Mooney, 3.5 catches, may be a little bit too high. They made him 3.5. This is a guy who's never been a volume guy. He's made some big plays, but never volume. So I'd lean under for Darnell Mooney as well. And under Tyler Algier in yards also. I don't think he's going to get many carries.
Okay. All right, Brain. Well, listen, safe travels, buddy. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. There he is, the Brain I need.
There's no fun in those bets.
I know. I hate them.
Yeah.
And like, I hate them. I'm pissed off.
I got to cheer for Drake London.
I got
yards
brain.
tonight.
First, I got the Joker Andrew. All right, then already. Then you had to put the model picture up early. Then he gives me those lousy picks. I don't want any of it.
They're saying,
Maybe it's Zach.
they're saying his camera angle made him look like Herman Munster in the chat.
A little bit. Dun, 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 Mockingbird Lane. All right, let me get Zach up here, please. I need some football talk.
Seriousness now.
Thank you.
Jeez.
From the all
Football.
PHLY Eagles show, the man who does such a great job covering the birds for us. He is the great Zach Berman, Zachariah. Let's talk about it. When did AJ get hurt? Like let's go back to the source of that.
He got injured Friday's practice. So he felt tightness in his hamstring in practice on Friday. The Eagles pulled him back during that practice. He did not practice on Saturday. I was there in the locker room. He was not in the locker room. That's when you started to get a sense that there might be something more here than simply kind of holding him back precaution. They had a walkthrough yesterday morning. The Eagles declared him out immediately after walkthrough. So one thing that I know with these hamstring injuries is you don't want a 1 week injury to become a 1 month injury. So you try to be cautious with skilled guys with hamstring injuries, but this isn't nothing. Like this is something that came up during practice, and it's significant enough that they didn't even bring it to game time.
Yeah, listen, you don't mess around hamstrings. That's one thing. You've seen it. You've covered this game a long time. The last thing you want is something like that to linger. You got to be ultra careful, especially now that you have 17-game seasons. It gives you a little bit of luxury to kind of be patient.
You're absolutely right, and especially skilled guys who rely on their speed. If it's nagging throughout the season, it hinders you all year.
So we've seen this team before without AJ or Devontae, and it struggles offensively. They're better equipped now that you have Saquon, so you actually have a legitimate bell cow back. And I'm curious to see how do you think they're going to deploy the receivers. You got Dotson, who did get a lot of action in the first game. I think I was saying it earlier. I think Dotson is an upgrade to Quez and what they had before.
I agree. Dotson's an upgrade over Quez, and you hit it on the head when the Eagles acquired Dotson. Part of the reason why you need him is not just upgrade number 3, but is in the event that A.J. Brown goes down or Devontae Smith goes down, you have a starting caliber player. The Eagles have been really fortunate with A.J. and Devontae during the past 2 years. Devontae, the only game he's missed was Week 18 last year. The only game A.J. missed was the playoffs last year. That said, we saw how they looked in the playoffs last year, right? And it wasn't just A.J., but he changes the entire complexion of the offense. So you take him out. I don't want to say they revert to what they were during the playoffs, but they're going to need – obviously, Devontae steps up, right? He's the clear-cut number 1 guy. But Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley are huge here. The Eagles believe Dallas Goedert is a near top of the league tight end, and kind of what holds him back is just they have so many skill guys, he doesn't get the volume of some other tight ends. Well, here's his chance. This is, the Eagles need Dallas Goedert to have a big game tonight. Saquon Barkley lined up in either the slot or out wide on 20% of the passing plays that he was on the field last week. They can use him as almost like a flex wide receiver in this game at times. And then you mentioned Jahan Dotson. It's his second week here, but he's a first-round pick. There's an opportunity for him. So he's a big factor in this. But then you need to run the ball effectively. Jalen needs to use his legs. If you think back to before A.J. Brown came here, what made that offense go in 2021, it was Jalen Hurts running the ball. So the Eagles have no shortage of skill players.
But it's interesting, Zach. He didn't look very explosive. Now, part of it was the field, I imagine. But, I don't know. Is that still in him?
It's a valid question because he did not look like that in that Packers game. He did look like that at times this summer. And so I do know from, talking around that field was awful last week.
Yeah.
Right. And it was, I thought it was bad watching it, but then in the locker room, this talking to different people, it was really bad to play on. That said, Saquon Barkley rushed for 100+ yards on that field, right? So I don't know if that's necessarily an excuse with Jalen, but I do think Jalen has it in him. I think that there's caution exercised with how he finishes runs and whatnot, but he can and needs to be a factor with his legs.
All right, let's look at the other side of the football because one of the things now, Atlanta struggled last week, and I'm curious. It was a weird day in the NFL. We'll get to that in a minute. Yes, there were a lot of things. What you saw in week one did not transpire in week two, both for the good and the bad, and of course the Cowboys, which we love. But when you look at Atlanta, I got to think that they're going to be better offensively tonight. That D-line, Jordan Davis has to stay on the field, man. He's a big deal tonight because he can collapse the middle of that line.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of respect in the Eagles locker room right now for Bijan Robinson. When Nick Sirianni had his first team meeting on Thursday, he showed Bijan Robinson clips of the team, and he said it reminded him of when he was introducing kind of Saquon Barkley in past years. And so you mentioned Jordan Davis, and I heard the brain before I came on here. The Falcons are going to give the ball to Bijan quite a bit, and Jordan Davis needs to anchor that line of scrimmage for the Eagles. And if he if he doesn't, Bijan has the ability to break the game open. You saw last week, I know the Falcons didn't do much offensively, but you saw Bijan look like that player who was a top 10 pick. If the Eagles don't keep him in check, that could be something that changes the game.
Hey, Zach, just touching back on the injury stuff, it's Milton Williams had some foot stuff happening during the week, and Johnny Wilson has some hamstring. Are those guys a go for tonight?
Yeah, Milton's a go. Johnny Wilson's questionable right now, and we'll see how that materializes. That came up during Saturday's practice, so that was not an injury that he's kind of been dealing with all week. So when something happens late in the week, it's a little bit of a concern, and especially when you consider the fact that AJ's out now, right? So the Eagles are down to 3 healthy receivers on their active roster. I would anticipate them elevating Paris Campbell from the practice squad today. I think Paris Campbell will be in the mix tonight, but the Johnny Wilson injury is the big one to monitor. And then kind of what the Eagles do with inactives too, right, is because Devin White is healthy enough to play. Are the Eagles going to dress Devin White? We'll see. Wow. Isaiah Rodgers, he was out last week. He's going to play. So I'm curious to see how the secondary looks with him out there. But really the injury, the monitor going into the game is Johnny Wilson.
Do you know what they're going to do with the or their mindset? Because you had mentioned in your story about the E.J. Jenkins being brought up, Nick Gates being brought up. If Paris comes up, do you know where they're leaning? Which one of those guys goes down? Or all?
Yeah, it's a big question right now because the Eagles still need a backup interior center. You know, they need a backup center. They need a third tight end. Right? They can only elevate 2 guys, so they can do some roster moves. They can cut someone and bring someone to the 53, whether it's Nick Gates, whether it's E.J. Jenkins, whether it's Paris Campbell, right? So the deadline today, I think, is 4 p.m., and they really have 3 spots they need to fill: extra wide receiver, backup center, third tight end. Now, if they didn't want to make any roster moves and they just want to do the practice squad elevations, you can do an emergency situation where if something happens to Cam Jurgens, you move Landon Dickerson over from guard to center, and you have some backup guards, but that's obviously not ideal.
So let's examine this offense just a little bit. So what are you expecting? Are you expecting just a grounded pound? You know, would say like let put the game in Saquon's hands, Jalen a little bit, maybe quarterback draw or whatever. But, basically it's a Saquon game. And then, the receiver, look at Devontae will be in Goddard, in those pass situations. But mostly you're going to run it.
I don't think so. Now, that would be a sound strategy there. I still think that you're going to see a lot of Devontae and a lot of Dallas Goedert. I don't think they're going to get away from the run. I think, though, that even without AJ, Devontae, they're going to rely on him quite a bit, and they'll rely on Dallas. So I think back to week 2 of last year. It's actually our first show at PHLY, Eagles-Vikings game against Kirk Cousins Thursday night, and DeAndre Swift had the most touches in the Nick Sirianni era, and that was like the way the Vikings were playing the Eagles is they were just going to take away the pass, and the Eagles ran it. I think with the way the big difference is this: coming off week 1 last year, the Eagles didn't have a running game, and so the way the Vikings were approaching it was just stop that passing offense. With the way Saquon played last week, and knowing AJ Brown is not
they're
playing,
going to crowd the box.
My guess is the Falcons are going to threaten the Eagles to pass the ball, and they're going to say, throw it to Jahan Dotson, throw it to Britton Covey, throw it to Paris Campbell, right? So it's really going to be incumbent upon Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore to beat it.
No, completely. I mean, that's what you do. We were just talking about it before you came on. Not to oversimplify it, but it really is. It's where's the right? Like, how are you playing them? Are you going to crowd the line of scrimmage? And against the Eagles now, that's how you're supposed to play them. Even with AJ, it's pressure and crowding the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the safety here because that Steelers-Falcons game last week. If the viewers and listeners went back and watched it, Justin Fields for the Steelers, he did not throw it in the middle of the field, right? And so the initial kind of criticism of that was, well, Justin Fields is not looking in the middle of the field. Well, Arthur Smith, the Steelers offensive coordinator, former Falcons head coach, he comes out and he says the reason they did that is because of Jesse Bates, and that Jesse Bates can wreck the game. And Arthur Smith coached Jesse Bates, so he knows that type of player. So if Eagles fans want to know how to attack this defense, you got to figure out where Jesse Bates is and avoid him.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. All right, last thing on the other side. All right, what's been the talk about pressure? Like, what's the talk about it? And you brought up an interesting point about Devin White. Well, how does that situation rectify itself?
Yeah, first with the pressure, I think this is going to be a big barometer for whether the issue last week was the field, was like the field conditions, or whether there is concern about the pass rush. Because if you look at this Falcons offensive line, Caleb McGarry, he was eaten up last week by TJ White, right? I'm sorry, by TJ Watt. So Bryce Huff, $17 million a year player, did not contribute the way the Eagles needed him to last week. This is an opportunity for Bryce Huff to get after Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins can't move well right now, right? So if Bryce Huff doesn't have a big game or isn't a factor tonight, that's when you start to get concerned. But I do think internally, not the they'll say they're not making excuses, and I don't think I think it's more of a reason than an excuse. But the field affected the pass rush last week in terms of kind of their ability to move, and I want to see. I'm curious to see if Bryce Huff does more. From the linebacker perspective, Devin White's a reserve right now, and he doesn't play special teams. He didn't play special teams in Tampa. That's not really where he contributes, right? And if you're the fourth linebacker, you're typically a special teams contributor. So when I'm watching this here, I want to see, A, is he going to be active? B, if he's active, does he play on special teams? Or is he just kind of like an emergency option at linebacker?
Wow. Be interesting, man. So, all right. So how you feeling overall? Feel confident?
Yeah, I like the Eagles from a scheme, or I should say from a talent perspective, number one. But then also, this is a Monday night game, home opener at the Linc. Nick Foles is being honored, right? Jason Kelce's in the house. This crowd is going to be electric tonight, and that's an intangible that you can't necessarily say they're going to win because of this. But I still think that home field advantage is going to come through. Kirk Cousins still coming off that injury. You talk to people elsewhere in the league who say he just did not look right last week. I think the Falcons do have good skill players, and they added Judon on that defense. I mentioned Jesse Bates. This isn't an easy game, and these next 3 games, frankly, against the NFC South, it's going to be a good barometer for the Eagles. But I still like the Eagles tonight, even without AJ Brown.
I know. I mean, all of a sudden New Orleans, like, wow. Tampa, we said it looks good. Going into Detroit was a statement by the Buccaneers.
Oh, big time, big time. I thought going into the year, the Eagles were fortunate to be playing the NFC South. I thought that was the weakest division in the NFC. And look, 2 weeks in, it doesn't look that way.
No. Zachariah, great stuff. You'll be checking in from for the post-game show tonight.
Well, yeah, we have a busy. We have 2 p.m. Bo and I are still doing our regular scheduled show. I'll be in studio 2 p.m. Then pregame, postgame, I'll be checking in from the stadium. Also, if anyone wants some pregame reading before I put something up this morning on allphly.com. The Eagles have 8 players on the team who played with Nick Foles. Got memories from those guys about Foles, and spoke to Jeff Stoutland about Foles. Jeff Stoutland walks by this picture in the corridor of the NovaCare Center every day, 5:30 a.m. He'll snap. It's the picture of Nick Foles holding the Lombardi Trophy. He'll snap a photo, send it to Foles, and say thank you. And he's been doing this for years.
Best.
But this is the funny football guy aside to this. Okay, Stoutland admitted that he doesn't know how to find old photos on his phone. So he just takes new photos every time. So if you look in his photo roll, he just has years of Nick Foles photos on there.
Oh, that's fabulous. That makes the story 10 times better. Read it. His stuff is tremendous. Thank you, Zachariah. We appreciate it, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, Zach Berman.
He is underrated. I would not be upset about a Stoutland statue.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
listen, I love Stoutland.
I like that idea.
I'm a big Stoutland fan. I love those old football guys. To me, they're the best. They really are. All right, let me tell you about the BetPark Sportsbook and Casino app. Download it right to your phone. All right, Eagles tonight, 5.5. You heard the brain. Don't listen to the brain.
Don't listen to them today.
No. There's a myriad. So if you don't want to lay the 5.5, you could draw the line down to 3. Yeah, or do the money line. There's a million ways you can do it. Go with, Saquon, right? To get Goddard's he's going to be busy. You can build the same game parlay with Goddard and Devontae. And I'm telling you, I think Dotson will go over his yards. I gotta check the app and see what the yardage is. Maybe you can have it right there, VG. But I like over Jahan Dotson. I think tonight he makes one big play. So that's my prediction there. You can check out the BetPark Sportsbook Casino app. They got everything. Also, the new get that super odds boost. That's 50-1 for all new customers to get that you'll receive if you pick this year's championship winner. So you can get 50-1 on the Birds, all right, on the Chiefs. Anybody you want, you're a new customer, you get 50-1.
Here we go. BetParks. Eagles money line, Dotson over 28.5 yards, pays 163.
I love it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yep.
That's a great one, VG. Love that. All right. Who needs the brain? We got VG here. I love it. Don't forget all the casino games. You're watching the game. You're doing your thing on live blackjack, live baccarat, the whole thing. BetParks.com has all the details for everything. Just remember, going to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. BetParks.
Because you were out there this morning seeing those fans tailgating?
I was there this morning.
5:30 in the morning. You guys are freaking awesome.
I crossed the bridge 5 after 6.
That is insane. We got Pete fans tailgating all day.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
Obviously we could see the sun's out. So for everyone out there, we need to make sure we're obviously having fun, but you want to make sure you're protecting those eyeballs, and you're only going to do it with our friends over at Shady Rays. All right. So for all day tailgating, you're going to get those Shady Rays glasses because not only are they stylish, but we're not breaking the bank. So you can use that money for, maybe you want to get some filet mignon at those tailgates. Maybe you want to get some nice scotch to those tailgates. So you can use that money for some things like that. All right. A wide range of different styles. My favorite part about it is, listen, we've all been there where we happen to lose or break those glasses, especially all day tailgating. That can very well happen. So with Shady Rays, what they'll do for you, if you happen to go through that, they'll replace that first pair for you. It's awesome, guys. It is absolutely awesome. And don't take it from me. Obviously, I love my Shady Rays, but take it from the over 300,000 people who have rated Shady Rays 5 stars or more. And you can get yourselves a nice pair of Shady Rays here today with our promo code. If you go on over to Shady Rays, check out their thousands of styles. Go to the checkout page. Use the promo code PHLY. This will get you 35% off those polarized sunglasses so you can stay style and profile today with our friends over at Shady Rays. Thank you, Shady Rays.
All right, my brother. Appreciate it. Coming up at 10:15, we'll talk to Joe Buck.
Yeah.
And after Joe, we'll talk to Fran Duffy to take a look at the matchups. But before we get all that, and tonight's a big night. Right, this is truly the home opener. Last week was in Brazil, as we know. Nick Foles is in the house. It's Monday Night Football. I mean, it's going to be one of those, emotional, highly emotional. Kelce back as a part of the Monday Night Football cast.
Yeah,
this is an amazing. And it's funny, if you watched football yesterday, all you see is Jason.
I know.
Kelce commercials everywhere.
Everywhere. And you got Belichick in the house. He's doing the entire first half of Manningcast tonight.
Yeah.
The big game tonight for the league.
It's a shame because I think I'm going to DVR that and then go back and watch it.
I like that move.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch because I don't like I love the Manningcast.
Yeah.
But I like to watch the game. I almost like it as a standalone.
Right.
Like I like it better to rewatch it. It's more because it's interesting and fun.
It's entertaining.
So I'm gonna go and I'll rewatch that.
Yeah, it's going to be electric. I mean, we already talked about it. And home openers are always so much fun, are always electric. But you talked about it. Foles here. You got Kelce with his ESPN Monday night debut here with the Eagles home opener. But it's going to be a lot of fun here tonight because I know A.J. Brown out kind of puts a damper in it. But
I mean,
they should be able to roll the Falcons.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, let's be real here for a second. Cousins always awful on Monday Night Football, right? On primetime games.
Yeah.
We've always talked about that.
Yeah.
The Eagles have always defended him well.
Brad's saying he always plays the Eagles well. I mean, he's like 500 ball against the Eagles. He's 15-9 versus the NFC East. He's in September. He's 11-21-1, so he starts slow. He's 3-10 on Monday Night Football. Cousins is not. This is not a game for Cousins tonight, and coming off that injury, it's a big stiff tonight.
I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I'm not. I would be very disappointed if they lose without A.J. Brown. I get it changes the dynamic, but you have enough now to handle it. And I'm not trying to go overboard on Dotson either, but that was the reason why I like that move. I like the move because he can play outside. He wasn't just a slot guy.
Yeah.
So you could play him outside. So now, that was one of the issues with depth. That if something happened to AJ and Devontae, before they had nothing. I mean, Quez was not an outside receiver. It's a shame. He had ability. He's fast, but he just had bad hands and bad route running.
Hands.
Right?
Who's getting snaps at the third receiver now?
Paris Campbell, they're saying, if they call him up, right?
Yeah.
If Johnny Wilson can't play?
Yeah.
No, it'll be Paris Campbell for Covey.
Yeah, for
Covey. Brain busting out Covey for props.
No, I mean, that's not happening. No, if Paris Campbell will get the nod, especially without Johnny Wilson.
I think everything's about the pressure tonight. They get pressure to Cousins early, and he's rattled because he's not mobile. He was never mobile, but he's not mobile now coming off that injury.
And look, I mean, they're going to run Bijan all night. I mean, that's something. Here, they already said it. They showed you last week. They're going to run Bijan. It could be another Zach Bond night. It could be another, watch Zach Bond fly around.
Maybe Kobe Dean has a great night.
Right. I think the Kobe Dean should have a big night because I was digging into some Falcons stuff, and he's a terrible blocker, and he can't run routes. He's a horrible route runner. I was watching videos and on Reddit, people complaining about his route running. So Nakobe Dean should have a pretty good night tonight. If he gets exposed by Kyle Pitts, it should be an anomaly. He should have a good night tonight.
Yeah, I'm expecting. And then, to me, I think the offense is going to give what it's going to give you, right? They should score. I mean, I don't know if they're going to put up 35, but I think they should score. I'm really anxious because you brought up the defense, and this defense, we'll get a true kind of feel about them tonight. Did the field matter? It always matters off the ends. When you're rushing off the edge and you got bad footing, that cripples an end, right? So I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt, and let's see what the defensive front can do.
You're right,
because I believe in it. First of all, I love the cornerbacks. All right, so I'm not at all worried. At some point, they're going to be a huge weapon.
Yeah,
I love the corners. Right, I'm good with the linebackers. I mean, Zach Berman's a player. He flows to the ball, the whole thing. The only thing, my only question mark on this defense is really the D-line. Safety a little bit, but the D-line is really what I'm concerned about.
Got to get some pressure, especially tonight.
And this is a great test. You're right, because there were unknown conditions, whatever. We saw the Steelers' defense is legit. So we saw what they did again. They feasted on this offensive line of Atlanta. So, I mean, I don't know if the Eagles will be that good, but they should be able to generate decent pressure tonight.
I'm not usually a secondary guy, but watching Quinyon that first week, I love his game. And I love his attitude, too.
Dude, I'm a huge Kenyon fan. I
watch him every game now.
There's something to be said about playing 4 years in college. He looks like a pro when he came in.
And
you're right.
I still love the story. Remember, we had his coach from Toledo. Mm-hmm. We had him on the show. We were talking about the fact that Alabama wanted him, right? Yeah. Like they wanted that people were trying to entice him to go into the portal. And he was like, no, you guys, Toledo believed in me. I'm staying in Toledo.
Love that.
And I thought that spoke volumes to me.
Yeah.
What do you love about Monday night?
Oh, I mean, because back in the day, it's all we had for prime time. So it's still special to me.
Yeah.
I hate the song that they have now. It's a little lame, but I like the production of it. Like, I'm excited. 4 o'clock hits. I'm taking the peg and we're going down to the tailgates at the parking lots for a little bit.
I mean,
I'm gonna bop around. We're gonna go to the watch party later on.
I love hearing that because you know why?
It's awesome.
I hear all the time people bemoaning that they don't play at 1 o'clock.
There's no time to enjoy it.
And I go, I don't know what it is. I hate 1 o'clock games.
Really?
I hate them.
Yeah, me too.
First of all, if you're playing at 1, it means you're irrelevant. Right? At least for the day.
Yeah.
You're irrelevant.
Right. You're right.
All right? You're playing at 1 o'clock, you're getting the B announcers.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not getting prime time. You're not getting the 4:25. But the pecking order is obvious, right? Sunday and Monday, and then Sunday night and Monday night, and Sunday at 4:25.
I like a healthy distribution. I like some 1 o'clocks, but I do like, because come on, it's
I don't want
prime time
ones.
tonight.
Yeah, if I would be good with no one. Last year there were 4 1 o'clock games, and I loved it.
So, how bad have they screwed up with the schedule? Next week's 4:25 game, Cowboys-Ravens. Cowboys got smokes. Ravens are winless. They could have 2 undefeated teams of the Saints and the Eagles next week.
Wow,
and we're 1 o'clock.
It's a shocker though.
Yeah, but like, if you're them, you that's the call you would make.
Yeah, well, it should be flexed. If
Baltimore,
they win tonight, it should be flexed to 4:25.
Two interconference game, 2 big fan bases.
I know.
Baltimore and Dallas. I get it, but you're right. That's an interesting.
Oh, did I tell you about the Pagans? She's wearing a hat. I tell you about someone said go Birds to her. She's new to this world. Someone said,
our world?
Yeah, to like wearing Eagles gear and stuff. I was like trying to get her in. So someone says, "Go Birds," and she says, "Thank you."
No,
like they were complimenting her hat.
Wait, that's awesome, dude.
Are you serious?
What the hell did you just say?
Did you say violation?
Yeah, I was like, you can't say thank you. You say go Birds. And then this morning she got it. Some contractor was like, she had her hat on. It's like, go Birds. And she was like, go Birds? I was like, you're getting there.
Now she's just got to eliminate the question mark at the end of it.
Go
No
Birds.
question mark at the end of Go Birds.
Yes.
Go Birds is a statement.
Yes.
All right?
I felt bad yesterday because I was in the street in Philly and I had my Phillies hat on. And he also had his Phillies hat on. So he said, it's like, go Phillies. And I was hungover. I was like, let's go Fightins. I could have put more emotion back into it. And I was just like, go Fightins.
Well, I was hurt.
Yeah. So if anyone sees us
But to me, it's a Go Phils.
yeah.
Like, instead of Go Birds, Go Phils. It's one syllable.
Go Phillies.
Right? You don't say Go Phillies. Go Phils.
Yeah, you're
I would
probably
say
right
Fightins.
there.
I like the
Go
Phillies.
Birds. You don't say Go Eagles.
No.
You say Go Birds.
You say go Eagles. You're
And you
not
say
from
Go
here.
Phils.
Yeah.
Go Phils.
So if anyone sees us at the tailgate, if you're walking around, just say thank you. Go up to us and say thank you to her instead of go Birds.
God,
I would love people just busting her stones, be like, thank you.
That's something that Andrew would do.
Yeah.
Andrew would be a thank you. Thank you. I'm a pirate. You got Steve the pirate.
Thank you, my lord.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, thank you, my lord.
My lord.
All right, real quick, because we got Joe Buck coming up in 10 minutes. I don't want to lose the Phillies because it was a big weekend. All right? Listen, I know we all thought, I was hearing my buddy Boo was texting me, I hate Nola.
I know, dude. He's
Nola
getting killed.
stinks. Nola. And I'm giving him the, honestly, like, look at the innings pitched. He doesn't even,
It doesn't frustrate you at all, cuz?
listen,
It's frustrating.
I get it, all right? But baseball's such a cumulative game.
I get it.
That you have to kind of look at the numbers with him. You can't kind of bore down. I get it. Like, there are times when you go, oh my God. And it feels like anytime there's a big inning, there's a big inning. And it feels like it's always the big home run that he gets nailed with. And he got hit twice.
He's given up more home runs this year than any other pitcher. He's at 28.
I know, but Boo said that.
Yeah.
He's also pitched the third most innings
No.
than anybody in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a correlation.
Sure.
He's going to get stung by the long ball. That's who he is. But he gives you those innings, and he still hasn't. I think he's pitched 174 innings, and he's allowed 167 hits. So not even a hit in an inning. Like, I always judge good starting pitching by, are you less than a hit per inning, and where's your strikeout ratio? And his strikeout, he has more strikeouts than hits allowed.
Yeah.
And that means something.
He is good. And that's the thing. Like, he is good, but it's just frustrating.
I know.
Because, like, thing is, like, after, like, the
I'm
fourth inning.
not arguing with you. Like, I told Bill, I was like, I get it. Like, I understand why you feel that way, but, it was one game. Anyway, after he gets shelled, and the way the game was going, right? Scoreless. And then all of a sudden it just imploded.
Erupted. Then
early Saturday, they're down.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, oh. And I get another text, Phils. What's up with the Phils? I go, relax. Like, don't worry about them. And Bryce, 2 home runs.
That's great, man.
And then yesterday, Sanchez was dealing, man.
He looked good.
Dude, he's just a 3 in the playoffs right now. It's not even a question. And he's really proven it. For some reason, we don't believe in his stuff, but he's been really consistent this year and last year.
Yeah, and you look at yesterday, it was a big test.
Yeah.
Too, right? It's a big test. It's a warm day, right? Warm fall day.
I was
or
there.
A late summer day.
Got the hottest team in baseball here.
Right.
Skiing's down
I
there.
was at the
Would they
game.
have a Renaissance fair at the ballpark yesterday?
No, unfortunately, I was in my Phillies gear.
Yeah, where are you?
Mead and Ashburn.
It was great.
I'm irritated with you, so
I know you are.
you're not getting my good graces until after the show. Probably till tomorrow.
Dude, the young kids.
I was going to say,
the
dude.
real question with Austin Hayes, man, if he can get over this infection and get back, because Cal Stevenson is Buddy Kennedy, they're like making a pitch to get on this roster.
I know they are.
Yeah.
They really
Russell
are.
Wilson's
Cal
been big
Stevens
too.
flashes some glove.
But nothing, right? You look at where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Only team with 90 wins.
90 and 59.
Really separating themselves from the Dodgers.
Oh, they are. They're 2 games up on the Dodgers. They're 4 up on Milwaukee.
Yes.
There was a time, and it was 3 weeks ago, when they were behind the Brewers, and we were panicked that they would play in the wild card, like that they would. Oh my God, they're going to be a wild card team, and it'll be you're playing with fire when you're a wild card team. Now you look at him, and I'm with you with Sanchez. Like, he looked terrific yesterday. 7 strikeouts. Right now he's got to be your number 3 starter. And the beauty of Ranger is, look, in the 7-game series, he starts game 4. If you need him before that, in the 5-game series, he can do so many things. You could be creative with him because he can pitch at any point.
You're spot on, cuz. And then, I mean, obviously we have Monday Night Football, but Phillies and Brewers. We're 3, man.
I mean, if they take 2 of 3 off the Brewers, it's a knockout punch for the Brewers to not catch them. If they take 1 out of these 3, it's tough for the Brewers.
Well, the beauty is they knocked the Mets out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Now
we'll see if they can still get in on the wild card, but any threat of the division of like, oh my God, there was some talk before the game, if you remember. There was some talk before the series like, oh, the Mets are really hot.
Yeah, hottest team in baseball.
You don't want to give them life. What if they come in here, and especially after Friday night, it was like, the lead's 7.
Right.
What if they come in and they take the next 2? It's down to 5. There was all that kind of nonsense. And they just went like that, stamped it out. It was a fire, little tiny, wasn't even a fire.
Yeah, it was like an ember.
Yeah.
was
And they
big.
just stepped right on it.
That was big, cuz.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Plus, they did skeevy Met fans. It was like,
It's the best.
yeah.
I hate the Mets.
I can't stand
We talked about
them,
it last week. The Braves, you dislike them a hell lot, but I hate the Mets. Total scumbags.
Well, I just thought that was such an impressive series, and they're locked right now. Their lineup is just tremendous. Like if you can get Bryce, when Bryce is giving you power, and Schwarber and JT's in there healthy,
JC's getting hell. He's rested.
Right,
Bohm is
dude.
rested now.
like that goes back to their strength.
Yeah.
Right, it goes back to and their bullpen.
The bullpen. Ruiz yesterday.
Dude,
Solid.
Like their bullpen now is look. I look at the Padres bullpen is legitimate,
Yeah.
but the Phillies pen is no joke.
No, they're pitching as good as anybody.
Man, Dombrowski is a great GM.
Yeah.
Really good
He
job,
really is.
man.
How he navigates, right during the slump, the trades he made. Like
Yeah.
he's a great GM.
Oh, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Hayes can come back and contribute. We'll see.
That'd be nice.
I mean, right now it doesn't
Yeah.
seem great.
So, big story tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is without AJ Brown.
Uh-huh.
What's Jalen going to look like, right?
Yeah.
Like that. That to me, obviously, is going to be a huge story. I thought he did some good things
He did.
in the opener in Brazil. I thought he played well. He made a couple bad decisions, and there was some stuff that I thought after when he was going through his progressions that he kind of got lost.
Yeah.
But when it was blitz recognition, ball out, he was on the money.
On the
Yeah,
money.
you saw it was like
Yeah.
6 for 7, right? On the blitz.
7 for 8.
Seven
He
or
looked
eight.
prepared.
He was 7 for 8 against the blitz.
Yeah.
He also, those in cuts,
Yeah.
he was on the money. Like the ball was out on time. He was accurate with those throws.
Yeah.
Really, it wasn't his throws that were at all an issue.
Mhm.
It was the decision making.
Also tonight too to mention Saquon Barkley, first time in that Eagles with the Eagles fan base behind him in the Eagles green.
No, it's a monster night tonight. Listen, it's a huge night at Lincoln Financial Field, right? It's the de facto opener.
Yeah.
It's Nick Foles. It's Kelce. It's Saquon. And you know how this fan base is.
Yeah.
Like, we're in love with Barkley.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, this is a T.O. situation. I saw
Yeah,
this
it is
with,
like a TO
Yeah,
I
it is.
saw this with T.O. and how the fan base fell in love with Terrell Owens, right? Like, we were a receiver-starved fan base, and all of a sudden, dropped in from the gods is Terrell Owens. And in the same vein, this fan base we needed a bell cow back.
Yeah.
Right? It was a committee, even during the Super Bowl. That was Jay Ajayi. It was LeGarrette Blount. Like, it was a committee.
Yeah, we've been craving it since Westbrook.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the first time since Westbrook.
And even Westbrook was never used. B. West was, I thought that was the only thing with Andy that I think he should have ran him more, but he wasn't used as the bell cow guy.
Saquon with a TO like performance in week 1 too.
Right.
Super dominant, man.
3 touchdowns.
And you saw it though. Like if he needs to be that power back, he'll do that. If you need that back to come out the backfield and catch some balls, he can do that as well. Pass blocking, he's the perfect package because he does everything at an elite
It's
level.
truly amazing when you look at the quality of like the type of player he is, and how the Giants did not offer him a contract.
offer him anything.
Like, how do you not? You want to talk about
Go see what you can get and let us know. Maybe we'll match it.
malfeasance.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know how Mara doesn't just blow out his whole front office.
Right.
How awkwardly, poorly, just catastrophically that they handled Saquon Barkley.
You tell your star player, go see what is out there for you.
Go see what-
Let us know. Maybe
that's
we'll think
unbelie-
about
like,
it.
Think about it. Like, that's unbelievable that they tell Barkley, this isn't your left guard, right? Who's a good player, but you're trying to get him cheap,
Yeah.
right? This is Saquon Barkley, and you're telling Saquon to go. Let's see what kind of offers you get and come back to
You'll
us.
call us, right? You'll let us know. You'll give us a call, right? Let us know what you get.
I mean, it's
Sure, buddy.
unbelievable that you would possibly that's your plan. And listen, neighbors. I know he dropped the ball. Yeah, they dropped yesterday. But neighbors can play.
Yeah, that kid's a
like
player.
he's good. Like imagine. Like, I think Daniel Jones is no good, right? But whatever. The fact is, if you have Barkley and neighbors, I mean,
much different situation.
Like they're not bad. I mean, they're probably still a bottom dweller, or whatever. They're not a playoff team. Yeah. But you had Saquon to neighbors, they go all right.
Yeah, that's something where like Goodell needs to step in and just be like, this guy's got to be removed. I don't know what's going on, but your GM's incompetent.
I mean, that level of, it's malfeasance in so many ways that you could sit there and not only let him go, but let him walk
to a division
right, walk down the turnpike.
Thank you, John.
That's what's amazing is that they let him walk down the turnpike. And all of a sudden, that he becomes an Eagle.
They're
like
super
that's
fascinating.
Howie's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, right.
Are you serious?
And he calls Jeff. Jeff's probably like, this isn't right. You can't be real.
Like if you're Howie, you're probably like, wait a minute, what am I missing?
Right.
They can't be that incompetent.
Right.
They are.
That they would let him walk.
Can you imagine how he talks to the agent and he's like, well, what are they offering you up there? And nothing. They're not offering us anything. They told us to call you and see what you think we're worth.
It's unbelievable that you would do that.
So the Giants yesterday made history. They were the first team in NFL history to score 3 touchdowns, allow 0 touchdowns, and still lose in regulation. You gotta love them.
It's unbelievable. That whole thing. All right, it is a monster night, as we're saying, and joining us, nobody does a big game. If it's a big game in this league, I want to hear him. He's my favorite. He's the best.
Sounds important.
We love him. Every time he comes to Philadelphia, he's gracious enough to come on the show. He's the great Joe Buck. Joe!
Yeah!
Man, you guys are the only people in Philadelphia to ever clap for me. That makes me feel so good.
There's nothing. I mean it. Every time you come on, I believe this. When it's a big game, there's no one I want to hear but you. It just feels like the magnitude. I feel it.
Well, thanks. I've been doing it a long time. It's funny to come back here every year and, we're staying right here in the heart of the city. And I think about as a kid growing up, coming up here with my dad, being around the Cardinals and staying next to bookbinders at the Sheridan. I know bookbinders, they've kind of gone through different iterations, but that was one of my dad's favorite places. So he dragged me up here. I've dragged my daughters up here. We've done the history walk and everything else. And I've been flipped off by fans. I've been hugged by fans. And it's a great place to be. And as I've always said to you guys, as long as fans care and they, obviously the love affair with the sports teams up here is unique and beautiful. And as long as fans care, I'm in. And, they can think whatever they want. I just love being in this atmosphere, and games do feel bigger. Forget me, forget Troy. They just feel big because you're in Philly and the fans are ready to go.
Well, first of all, I got to ask you, how's your wife, Michelle? She's in our prayers. Man. I can't believe it. I felt so bad for you.
It's the worst. I can't assume that people know, but we were down in Cabo. My daughters had left, going back to New York. Our little boys were taken care of. She and I get out on the golf course. I'm getting ready to go play in Tahoe. We're having the greatest day. And then she does a headstand at the end of the tee box, which she's done many times before. And just as I hit, she decided with her feet in the air to do the splits, dropped her right leg in my line of fire. It was like this left. She was to my left. This whole bent left to right. And of course I hit it. Everybody's like, did you shank it? Did you put? I hit it right on the screws, and it drilled her right in the inside of her ankle and shattered it, which it's been a mess. She can't drive. We've got these little boys. It's been, look, way worse things happen to people. Yeah. I get it. And we're not crying about that. We're lucky. But what kills her is that It is a big deal, and for somebody who loves to dance and jump around and have fun, she can't do it, and mainly she can't do her job, which is to be on Monday Night Countdown. That's killing her more than driving around or anything. So hopefully, she had a great surgery on Wednesday, and hopefully she's on the mend now.
Yeah, she's in our prayers, and I felt horrible for you because it's not your fault, but you just go, the amount of guilt, you're like, oh my God. And of course I got to hit it on the screws too. But the one time it has to happen that way.
I wish everybody's like, did you shank it? I'm like, I wish I did. I would have either missed her or it wouldn't have hurt. And the guilt woke me up for, 2 weeks in the middle of the night. And then you hear that sound. And then and if it's not the guilt, it's the freak feeling of going, well, what if I did hook it or something and I hit her in the head? So it's just, I don't know, whatever. It's life. It's a fluke, freaky thing, and it's something that hopefully we'll be able to laugh at at some point in our lives, because it doesn't feel real funny right now.
No, not at all. I'm with you, brother. Let's look at tonight. It's such it is a big game. It's a monster game. It's early, but it's Kelce back home. It's Nick Foles. It's Saquon Barkley for the first time. There's monster storylines for tonight.
There are, and I'm glad you started with Kelce. He's added so much. We've had a couple dinners. We had a league meeting where he's every. I knew him as we do production meetings, and you get to know somebody. You're like, oh, what a good guy. And then you see, with the heightened celebrity, with his brother and the Taylor Swift stuff and all that and the podcast. And then you get to know him and you're like, no, this is legitimately a cool, great guy that what you see is really who he is. He's just awesome. So I've joked, I know we're going into this game with Jason as a part of ESPN. I hope we come out of the game with Jason as a part of ESPN. I hope nothing happens and they're like, hey, we got your jersey in the back. If you want to throw it on, we kind of need a center right now. But he's amazing. Saquon, you guys were just talking about him. He's as advertised. The only thing that slowed him down is injury, as we all know. But, just listening to Kellen Clemens talk about him, he's a 3-down back. He pays attention to his blitz pickups and his blocking as much as he does catching the ball and running the ball. He's the complete package. And then Nick Foles, we were there. We did that champ game. We didn't do that Super Bowl. We did that run. We did the game where Carson got hurt out in L.A. So we felt like we were right there watching it all in real time. And for him to retire as an Eagle is the only way to go out. So there's plenty to talk about. It'll be a good night.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. To get back to Barkley, it's still amazing. It's amazing how the Giants kind of fumbled that thing. And everybody saw the Hard Knocks that, oh my God, well, the Eagles aren't going to be interested. And it's like, wow, you let him go down the turnpike 90 minutes to your greatest rival. And he comes here and he's got a real offensive line. He's got a passing game that works, a quarterback that works. And now you just see it's just paid for his greatness, Joe.
No, yeah. All that's true. There's no doubt. I think the one guy that doesn't get enough credit, and I know TV crews talk about him a little bit, and I'm sure you guys talk about him, is Jeff Stoutland and the job that he's done here. He was on Chip Kelly's original staff. Yeah. He's survived like 28 coaching changes, and there's a reason. And what he's doing this year, you lose Kelce, a 6-time All-Pro. You move Juergens back, which is kind of his quote-unquote natural position. They see something in Becton to play guard, which he hadn't done. He's teaching him that. They made Mailata out of, as a rugby player, and now he's an NFL left tackle getting money. A great find by Howie. It just goes on and on and on. Dickerson's a good player. So what he's and we're not even talking about Lane Johnson, who's multiple time All-Pro. So Stoutland makes this thing go. And I was watching the Giants game yesterday because we've got the Commanders next week. Singletary looked pretty good for the Giants yesterday. And we've seen what Kyle Shanahan has done with back after back after back. If you have the system, you have an offensive line that works with the system, you can make backs I think, excel and look better than they might otherwise be. So to me, long-winded answer, Stoutland is the guy that I think Barkley at the end of the year is going to go, wow, I don't know that I've ever had that with an offensive line like this, a dual-threat quarterback like Jalen. It's set up for the guy to be, a Pro Bowl running back and for the owner of the Giants to say, I hope he didn't go to Philly because I'm going to lose a lot of sleep or I'm not going to be able to sleep. It happened, and the debut couldn't have been any better in Brazil.
So it was interesting. We were just talking about Stoutland before you came on, and every morning he takes a picture of Nick Foles. When he walks into the building, he takes a picture of Nick Foles, and he texts the picture. And because he doesn't know how to access his old photos, he takes a new picture of Nick every morning that he walks into the company. It's priceless because those old football grizzled veterans, I mean, I know you're kind of similar like I am. You love those guys, man. Like, they just exude the sport, and that's Stoutland.
Yeah, I mean, I think, not knowing everything that I'm about to say, how the actual mechanics of teaching offensive line play goes, I would imagine there's not a lot of analytics being introduced into the equation. I think he's just an old school, great football coach that says you got to be here and you've got to have this angle and you've got like that. Those are the guys that that's what the league is built on, are those type coaches. And I really hope that we get to, sometimes you go into a game and you're like, oh, we got to talk about Stoutland tonight, and then you never get there. I mean, I think that's something with the changes that have happened. And Jason's going to come in the booth and do the game with us in the third quarter tonight, which is going to be awesome.
That's going to be fabulous.
So, yeah, and Troy wants it. I want it. I just think it's going to be fun. It's the only we're bringing Jason Kelce back to Philly. He needs to be on the air more than just the pregame, and so he's going to come just analyze the game with us, which I think is going to be a blast for him, I hope, and definitely for us.
Yeah, and the audience is going to go wild, particularly here. And it was such a bizarre day yesterday around the league that, tonight
survivor pools are dead. Survivor pools are dead, and I guarantee you Vegas had a nice afternoon and evening because I looked at those games and I'm looking at spreads and it's a part of what we do because you start understanding how people see these teams, and how Vegas sees these teams is part of the equation. I mean, those are brilliant people out there that start putting lines on games. So you go, okay, who does Vegas like and why do they like him? And who does Vegas not like that I thought would be good? And so it's a part of what we do. And when you start looking at that and you look at yesterday, it's just like, what's going on? Which is only good for the league. I mean, God love them because they've found the magic formula. I mean, I did baseball forever, and it's like you go into the season and you kind of know who's going to be left standing at the end of the season. The NFL, it's just awesome every year. Some team is going to come out of nowhere, like the Texans last year, and you're going to go, okay, they figured it out. And I don't think we know what that team is yet.
I know. Saints have a little bit of a
start.
I mean, that was wild. Like, to go into Dallas, and it was mind-boggling. Dallas defense looked terrific against Cleveland. And then yesterday, I mean, I think Shaheed gives them a big, because he's that speed guy. So he goes really well with Olave and Kamara. But man, oh man, like who expected that yesterday? And then the Niners lose to Darnold. Detroit loses at home to Tampa, another surprise team. It's wild.
Yeah. I thought Tampa looked really good. I watched a lot of that game. We get here and we just watch the games on in a meeting room, and I was impressed with Baker. I mean, you have to give them credit. They signed him on a prove-it one-year deal last year, and he proved it. And he looked good. He looked like he could run. He made great moves in the open field. He was finding open receivers. They still have Godwin and Evans. I like the rookie running back they have. There's a lot to like there. But you're right. I'm glad you mentioned New Orleans and Clint Kubiak. We talk about Kyle being Mike's son in this incredible coaching tree. And now maybe Clint Kubiak has unlocked something with the Saints and with Derek Carr and with their weapons. And Kamara looked like the old Kamara. But again, it gets back to the offensive line. I mean, you can't show me one team that's any good offensively that's got a bad offensive line. And I think that line played great against a Dallas defense that, as you said, in week one looked like they were just going to be, a handful everywhere they go this year. And they got shredded yesterday. So hats off to the Saints and to Clint Kubiak.
Did you guys sit with Jalen at all? I'm just curious because obviously no A.J. Brown tonight. And Jalen did some really good things last week against the pressure. We all know about some of the decisions. There was a couple of the interceptions. There was a missed drop pick 6. But he did well against the pressure, which was the issue last year.
Yeah. Yeah, and then more pre-snap motion, more at-snap motion. Talked to Kellen Clemens about that. Doesn't want to go overboard, but did acknowledge that that's something that they want to change. And it's nice to hear you have a storyline going in, and it's nice to hear that coaching-wise that's where they're going, and that's what they want to do. But they can't overload Jalen, too. I just want to see the legs again. I want to see Jalen be able to do what he did 2 years ago, which was, is special. And being able – he's done so well in proving people wrong time and time again, at least from the outside, where everybody says, oh, he'll never be a pocket passer. And then you start looking at his numbers in the pocket – he leads the league in pocket passing. I think he's a legitimate, serious quarterback who had the knee last year, didn't look right. I don't think we know the extent of that, and I'd like to see him. I mean, Philly fans have to hope that he gets back to what he was 2 years ago with the legs, and that opens everything up. Now you got Barkley. Now, they're not going to have AJ tonight, but they've got Dotson. They love Dotson, who they stole from Washington, in my opinion. A first-round pick 2 years ago, another great Howie move. And there's a lot to love in that offense. So, I don't know. Jalen is very guarded with us, very guarded. And that's fine. I mean, you don't get a lot out of him. As I said, one of the coolest things we got out of him was a couple of years ago, him talking about Jason Kelce and saying, he's such a leader. But he basically handed Jalen the reins in a team meeting and said, you're the leader now. You got to do this. You got to break us down. You got to – and it was a cool thing, and it was something that really stuck with Jalen. I want to ask Jason about that tonight. Yes. But again, get back to that dual threat stuff, and this team's as good as any team in the NFL.
Hey, I got to ask you because we're getting close to October, and I love that – you and Troy are on Monday Night Football. But selfishly, I miss you on baseball, man. Like those baseball playoffs, oh my God, were the great stares into the night. Anybody in Philadelphia that you go and you'll go out and hang out in our city, they'll remember that call, which was one of the greatest calls ever. You miss baseball a little bit?
I miss that. Oh, yeah. I mean, I miss doing the World Series. I miss, and Philly fans are always like, oh, you weren't excited when the Phillies won. Well, when they're at home and that crowd's going crazy, I mean, in my opinion, it's my job to sit there and shut up and let the crowd just go nuts, which is what I always try to do, is just leave it alone and let it play out and hear the crowd react and go wild for their team. And it's, when you do it here in Philly, as I said at the top of the segment, I mean, it's as good as any place in the country. So I miss that stuff. I miss those moments. I miss, somebody on the mound with a ball and somebody at the plate with a bat, and may the better man win. And, those moments, you don't get a lot of walk-off moments in the NFL. It's just those singular moments that stick out in your mind, like the Stairs home run in L.A., where, you get to put your voice to it and then watch somebody trot around the bases. That's fun, but you got to do a lot to get to those moments. You got to do a lot to get to a postseason Bryce Harper home run to get there. You don't just parachute in and do Game 7 of some series. So I'm glad it's in good hands. I watch it, but I don't to say that I sit there and cry myself to sleep at night in October it wouldn't be accurate.
You know what you did great is there was those moments in playoff games where it's pitch by pitch, right? The reason why it's so great is that the drama unfolds, and you would let before the pitch, you let that moment breathe. And so you would hear the crowd, and everybody knew it was like, big 3-2 pitch or a 2-2 pitch against a big hitter. And that moment is what makes it great.
Well, that's the fun of doing TV as opposed to doing radio. And, when you're doing radio, you have to describe all that stuff because nobody's seeing it. But when you do TV and you've got a great director like we had with Bill Webb forever at Fox, and then we had Matt Gangle, who's, brilliant, let them go to work. And you don't have to, it's all on the screen. I mean, you see the count, you know the score, you know who's at the plate, you can see who's on the mound. So there's not really a big reason for me to go, bases loaded, 2 out here, 3-2 pitch, Lidge on the mound, so-and-so at the plate. You don't need to do all that. And just let the director cut shots, whether it's somebody in the crowd freaking out or it's a tight shot of the pitcher, tight shot of the hitter. That's the stuff that builds drama to me, not somebody talking over it. So that's just what I tried to do.
Wow, you're the best, dude. Listen, we love you, man. I'm telling you, I'm so excited for tonight, and you're a big part of it. Have a great broadcast tonight. It's going to be a blast. Be safe in our time. Best of Michelle, brother.
I thank you. I will pass that on. And, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to get out there.
Thanks, buddy. The great Joe Buck.
Right, take care.
Joining us. I love it, man. I'm getting fired up.
It's a big, important show for us, man. Just hearing his voice.
Right.
And it's a good, natural voice. There's not a lot of, effect or bass they throw on it.
No,
it sounds as he sounds.
He is. It's what he does.
Yeah.
He's the best, man. He really is. And the moment that Kelce, that he drops, Kelce's going to be on the broadcast.
Yeah, super cool.
In the third quarter is fantastic.
Yeah. And I love that, people do think he hates Philadelphia. Every market thinks he hates him, but he kind of leans into it a little bit, jokes around about it. I dig it.
No, and he always jokes about that. He's fantastic. I do need to say, I need to tell you about Parks Casino. That's right. Street Road and Bend, Salem. Parks Casino, the mecca of entertainment. Yeah, they have everything going on at Parks Casino that we love. The restaurants, the acts.
Australian Pink Floyd. I love good cover bands. They got great ones up there.
Well, you know what's funny? They do. And a lot of people, sometimes you can't. I love cover bands.
Yeah.
When they're good like that.
Yeah.
And they have,
fun.
in fact, they have one of them.
And it's like a nice intimate event. It's not an overly big space.
In fact, the 20th is the Best of the Eagles. So I have a tribute to the band, the Eagles.
I know Linda. I think Linda in our chat's a huge Eagles fan.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's the Excite Center, state-of-the-art venue inside Parks Casino, right in Bucks County in the Philadelphia suburbs, named one of the best places for concerts and comedy. What a great spot to come and hang out. It is one of the many things that tells you Parks Casino is the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. Here's the lineup. You got coming up, I told you, Best of the Eagles on the 20th, September 26th. Joe Bartnick from Bill Burr's podcast joins Joe Conklin, who's awesome. September 28th, The Fray. October 4th, the Juicy Scoop podcast with Heather McDonald and Bravo, from Bravo, and Chelsea Lately. October 5th, Kev Herrera, who's a great comedian. October 25th, comedian Michael Blaustein. November 23rd, comedian Steve Trevino. And, of course, all the great restaurants, right? The happy hours, we tell you about the epic happy hours. ParksCasino.com for all things Parks and to buy tickets for all shows. You got to be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Love it, cuz. All right, guys, it is 10:39 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. Real quick, we want to thank you guys for tuning on in. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button and you are subscribing to PHLY Sports. And obviously, it's game day. We're all super excited. We talked about it. Foles, Kelce, Monday night, home opener. Everyone's been out there since 5:30. But listen, if you want something to do to tailgate, you don't want to go all the way down to South Philly, we completely get that. Come hang out with us, all right? Tonight, we have the PHLY Eagles tailgate. We have our own little tailgate party over at Uptown Beer Garden. over at 17th in JFK. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll have a pregame show with Jamie Lynch, Roy Burton. Well, I believe Rich Hoffman's going to be there as well. So we have a little pregame show. We'll have some fun. So if you guys have nothing to do, come on down to Uptown Beer Garden. More information will be on allphly.com/events. Check it out. We only have fun at these parties. So make sure you guys, if you have nothing to do, come on down. We'll have a lot of fun.
Like it. And our watch parties are a blast.
The best.
It's communal. I mean, it makes it so much fun by doing some of these watch parties. Are a blast.
Yeah, I was blown away. The last one. This is perfect weather. A little outdoor beer garden. Come on.
You can't beat that. You can't beat it.
Free admission. Come on.
All right. This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid. Don't forget Rite Aid for all of your goods, everything you need. And by the way, we got a couple good back in the day Rite Aid moments with Eagles and Falcons.
Can't wait.
That we're going to get to in a little bit as well. Lots to do still. Let's take a look at this game from a matchup standpoint. And joining us, our film guy. That's right. Nobody's better at our X's and O's than this man, Fran Duffy. Franny, good morning. How are you, pal?
Good morning, Ant. Good morning, guys. Excited for this matchup. It feels like forever since the Eagles played. Going from that Friday to this Monday has been a slog, but we're here.
I know. It was like a mini bye week for him. It's game day. Very excited now. Let's look at we like to look at matchups with you when the Eagles have the ball. Let's look at that first. Eagles offense, Falcons defense. We know no A.J. Brown, right? So how's that change things? It's funny. We just had Joe Buck on, and we were both – he likes Dotson too. So I wasn't the only one who likes Jahan Dotson.
All right, there's two of you.
So let's take a look at the Eagles' offense. Without A.J. Brown, how do you kind of see them attacking Atlanta? Heavy dose of Saquon?
Yeah, I think you'll see a heavy dose of Saquon. Honestly, in a game like this, with how much zone coverage Atlanta played a week ago, and obviously it's only a one-game sample against one opponent in Justin Fields and the Pittsburgh Steelers, but last week they didn't play any man coverage at all against Pittsburgh. And so when you look at this Atlanta secondary, you look at this back seven, this is not a team that's going to pride itself on its ability to just line up and play man-to-man. And if with that being the case, I'm not worried about it from obviously, look, you always miss A.J. Brown. You'd rather have him on the field, but I'm not looking at it as, oh, man, like I don't know if the Eagles pass catchers are going to have the horses to hold up against this Atlanta secondary. I do think that with the way that they play, with the amount of zone coverage that they play, there are things schematically that the Eagles can do to try and put stress on those zone coverage defenders. And it doesn't, you obviously don't want the worst receiver in the NFL going out there and doing those things, but that's why going out and trading for Jahan Dotson was so important. And you and I talked about it right after they made the deal, Anthony, right? Was that you now have this high floor, a level of respectability, a guy that can come in and run routes from the outside, run routes from the inside. I think Dotson, he'll obviously be more of a focal point tonight, but I still think this offense, this passing game is going to really funnel through Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and certainly Saquon Barkley.
Well, and look, you know what Atlanta's going to try to do. Atlanta's going to try to take away the run. Look, they're going to stack the box on you. They're going to say, "Go ahead, you got to beat me." All right, through the air without A.J. Brown, we'll pressure you. That's how they're going to deploy it. I think it's the Eagles' offense.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of their big things, is try and take him away. And then certainly on passing downs, on third down, Devontae Smith, they got to try and take him away. But, when you look at the way that they played, A.J. Terrell, who's an outstanding corner, he's their number one corner. Again, they don't play any man coverage. They don't match A.J. Terrell up. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they only have one real receiver that you're worried about, and that's George Pickens. Yes, Terrell traveled to Pickens' side, but he didn't move with him across the formation. He didn't slide with him into the slot. We saw how often Devontae Smith was moved inside last week against Green Bay. I do think that when the Eagles move Devontae Smith inside, he's not going to be seeing A.J. Terrell in there. And so I think it'll be really important for the Eagles to try and take advantage of those opportunities when they're presented them.
How's their pass rush?
Their pass rush has been an Achilles heel for like 2 decades.
I know.
They haven't had a guy that has been consistently double-digit sacks. They go out and they trade for Matthew Judon at the end of camp, and that's a guy that they've got big things for. But the pass rush wasn't there consistently enough last week against the Steelers. Obviously, Justin Fields is a tough guy to be able to get to the ground, but I do think ultimately when you look at this group, it's not one that the Eagles' offensive line should be fearful of. And if they have a bad game against this group, I would say it would be disappointing. They've got some some players up front. Judon, I mentioned, he's going to get most of his reps against Jordan Mailata. And then inside, I think that this trio of interior players is pretty disruptive. It starts with Grady Jarrett, number 97.
Yeah.
He's been there for about a decade now, and he's still kicking. He's still doing a really nice job disrupting against the run in the pass. So I would say Judon and Grady Jarrett are the two guys you want to worry about from a front standpoint.
All right. Flip side, let's look at the Eagles defense. Now, the other piece of it is they're going to run Bijan. One of the issues that they said coming into the season was we need to run Bijan Robinson for a reason. And so you're going to get a heavy dose of Bijan on this side.
Yeah, I mean, he played 91% of the snaps last week against the Steelers, and he was basically half their offense went through Bijan Robinson. He was targeted 5 times in the passing game. He was a big part, obviously, of their rushing attack. It wasn't a split backfield like we had seen from him in his rookie year with Tyler Algier. Everything funneled through Bijan Robinson. My guess is that they're going to try and play that same way here this week, and a big reason for that is that offensively, from the pass game standpoint, the way that they played last week, I don't think it's sustainable. And I think they're trying to get Kirk Cousins back into the speed of things coming off that Achilles, but they can't play that way week in and week out. My guess is they're trying to slowly work him back into game shape. But until he's there, they're going to have to really lean on Bijan Robinson, both as a pass catcher and as a runner. And his talent is legit. I mean, guys that are that big, 210 plus pounds, to be able to move the way he does, to be able to make jump cuts one after the other, mid-run and make people miss. He can make people miss through play strength and through lateral agility. He's got good wiggle. He's got good vision. We talked about the pass game value as well. So I think when you're looking at Bijan Robinson, he's one of the most talented backs in football.
All right, so let's look at it now. When they throw, all right, Drake London, obviously Kyle Pitts. What did you see last week? TJ Watt disrupted him a lot at the line of scrimmage. What else did you see, and what do the Eagles have to be concerned about in their pass game?
Well, I think just talking about from the inside out, so starting with the offensive line, I would say that would be one of the biggest disappointments, but I understand why it was disappointing because, again, it goes back to the way that they played. 0 play action snaps from the Falcons a week ago. Everything was from the shotgun or from the pistol, and everything was completely siloed. And so with the way that they lined up, the defense was able to kind of tee off, understanding, hey, you know what, this is probably going to be a pass or this is probably going to be a run. And when you look back at the Falcons and the success that they've had in recent years under Arthur Smith, so much of that was built off of their balance and off of their play action pass. And so Caleb McGarry, their right tackle, he's a guy, he's not an ideal pass protector. You don't want to leave him on an island. And if you're not going to incorporate the run game and play action and kind of help him out that way, he's a sitting duck out there, especially against a guy like TJ Watt. He gave up 1 sack on the stat sheet. It should have been 3 because a couple came off the board due to penalties. So when you look at Caleb McGarry, that's a great matchup for Bryce Huff. This should be a get right game for Bryce Huff. This should be Brandon Graham lining up on that side. If Nolan Smith gets reps there, if it's a pure passing down, you should feel good about that if you're the Eagles. Now, if it doesn't happen this week, difficult conversations tomorrow on the show, man. It's not going to be fun. So I think that it kind of needs to be that get right game. If the Eagles can keep Atlanta behind the sticks, get them into 3rd and long, get them into more predictable down and distance, now you've got that ability to feast on that offensive line that really struggled last week against a good Pittsburgh front. You mentioned the pass catchers as well. When you've got Drake London and Kyle Pitts, they've got the ability to be game breakers. When this summer, when I did my study of the Falcons and went back and watched their big plays from a year ago, so many of those big plays were vertical plays down the field. So, deep fade routes, deep dig routes, comebacks, deep outs from Drake London. Everything was vertical. Well, again, they did not attempt one pass past like 18 yards down the field last week. Everything was short. Everything was condensed. Everything was really tight. So if they're going to have to play that way again, that doesn't really play into Drake London's strengths. That doesn't necessarily play into Kyle Pitts' strengths. And so if they're going to play with this really low ceiling as far as the pass game is concerned, that's going to play right into the Eagles' hands as well. They're going to be able to jump those routes, try and disrupt it, and try and make plays on the football. And so if you're able to do that, if they come out and play that same way again in this game, the Eagles' defense should do very well.
Hey, Fran, you just touched on, I was looking at stats last week. The Falcons, 22 plays out of shotgun, 0 runs. 26 plays out of pistol. They ran 81% of the time. Can you remember watching an offense that was that predictable?
They were one of the teams that had the least amount of pre-snap motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I think when you go back and watch it, and remember, Kirk Cousins is coming off a right Achilles tear, and really, I think this comes off of his health and his durability. I talked about it on the PHLY Eagles show last week. Is when you try, if you're imagine you're a right-handed quarterback, when you're stepping up to throw, you are trying to gain all of your velocity off of that right foot as you're trying to step into a throw. And if he's trying to do that, and he doesn't have either the strength or the faith in that Achilles, in that foot, then his accuracy, his velocity, everything is going to suffer for it. And I think you saw that last week. We saw some uncharacteristic misses from him from an accuracy standpoint, and the velocity on the football just did not look good. And I think that's part of the reason why he was not under center, because when you're under center as a quarterback, one of the first things you got to do, you got to get out from under center. Otherwise, the center or the guard is going to be stepping on that foot. And if you're Kirk Cousins, you don't want that happening because you're coming off that Achilles surgery. There was some footage going around from practice last week where, oh yeah, look, he's under center. It was like molasses, him getting out from under this. So I don't know that that's going to change here this week. And if they're going to be that predictable, that should play into the Eagles' hands. But a big part of that will be having success on early downs. Get them into as predictable a scenario as possible.
You had mentioned some of his missed balls. I was deep diving into Atlanta Falcons Reddit threads this morning, and they're going off about a lot. Some of those throws are on Kyle Pitts, and they were saying he's just been a terrible route runner since he's been in Atlanta. Do you see that when you watch film?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty uninspiring last week, especially you would think that after having a somewhat of a down year a year ago, coming off the injury, because he was banged up for much of the season last year, that he'd have a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder coming into this season. Like, hey, you know what? This is a prove-it year for me. I haven't really lived up to my top 5 draft pedigree and all that stuff. I didn't love what I saw last week from a route running standpoint, from a blocking standpoint. He was the last guy off the ball consistently for the Falcons offense. And so you're hoping, if you're a Falcons fan, that this is a get right moment for him. I know he was one of the more productive tight ends in football a week ago, but he's got to be more than that for this offense, just because they don't really have a plethora of pass catchers available.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, brother. What's the game script? How do you see it going?
Yeah, I think the Eagles win this game, guys. To me, I think it comes down to the line of scrimmage on both sides. I think the Eagles should be able to dominate up front against that Atlanta offensive line. I don't anticipate. I know there's been reports in the last few days that, you know what, Kirk Cousins is healthy. This is not a health thing, but just the way that they played and what we've seen, to me, like, I have to see it before I believe it. Now, yes, there is a chance that, hey, you know what, maybe Kirk Cousins, it was a mental thing last week, and he just wanted that's just how he wanted to ease into it. If that's the case and they come out, they play a little bit different, then I think that does change the structure of this game. But to me, if they're going to play the way that they did a week ago, the Eagles should be able to tee off on that. And then offensively, even without A.J. Brown, I still have faith in this Kellen Moore offense to be able to create positive yardage, get into those positive scripts, create some big plays both in the pass game and in the run game. I think the Eagles win this one. I think they cover easily. I think this should be a comfortable win here tonight.
Yeah,
wow,
Franny,
I love it, Franny. Yeah. Who's your player of the game? Who's the guy that is the catalyst?
I think it might be Saquon again. This run defense did pretty well last week against Pittsburgh, but I do think with the way that the Eagles want to be able to run the football, come off the ball and pound people, and then also we know what Saquon could do in the pass game. Without A.J. Brown, maybe there's some more opportunities for Saquon there, take advantage of some matchups. So we'll go with Saquon Barkley here tonight.
Love it. Franny.
Nice work, Franny.
Great job, my brother. Great job. Looking forward to what's your duties. You'll be. I know you'll be deep diving.
Yeah, we got so obviously we got the PHLY Eagles show today at 2:00. I'll be jumping on with Bo and Zach. We've got pregame show, we've got halftime show, myself and Vinny Curry. Postgame show will be me, Bo Wolf, Zach Berman will be on the scene at the Linc. Vinny Curry, Jamie Lynch. So we got a crowded studio tonight. We'll have it from wall to wall here. Eagles coverage against the Falcons.
Oh, I love it, man. You're killing it, man. We love you, buddy. Thanks, Franny.
Appreciate it, guys.
There he is, Fran Duffy. Check it in. He's our X&O man.
I was hoping he's going to say his player of the game is going to be Dotson. You would have exploded.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not saying he's a player of the game. I just said he's going to make one or two plays.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I'm going to make one or two plays. I'm serious on game day. You know how I am. But I will have to say this. So JP is a freaking hell of a bartender.
Yeah. He's our mixologist.
So before every game, we're doing a tailgate, right? So last week he made. What did you make for us? The Capriñas. They were ridiculous,
like 3 of them.
right? They were.
I know they were home.
They were unbelievable. They were delicious. So what we got today?
All right. So as we all know, Atlanta is located in Georgia. What is Georgia known for? The peaches, right?
Right. Good
so
peaches.
what we got here
Jersey makes nice peach.
They do.
Jersey has good peaches. Well, you can't
not
give me.
Jersey, man.
No, what are you talking about, cuz? They have nice peaches in Jersey.
Yeah, the peaches are nice.
It's a good peach.
I don't know. I listen to Justin Timberlake. He gets his, or Justin Bieber gets his peaches down in Georgia.
I get my peaches out in Georgia.
So, go ahead.
So we got the Bourbon Peach Smasher, boys. Because we're smashing the Falcons tonight.
I love this.
All right. So what this is, guys, I just muddled some peaches, some mint. Make sure you do it gently. All right. You don't want to overdo it because the mint becomes bitter. We don't want none of that. All right.
All right.
You get your bourbon.
That looks
a little
delicious,
simple syrup.
man.
Nice, obviously more of a summer drink, but for tonight,
well, it's still warm out.
Yeah, you got the nice weather there.
Yeah,
so that's what we're gonna be drinking here. I just have bourbon on the rocks for VJ because he's not a peachman.
Yeah, I'm out on peaches.
But it's just,
they mess with my system. What
do you mean they mess with your system?
They give me
what
headaches.
does that mean?
I'm allergic to peaches.
You're not allergic to peaches. Nobody's allergic to peaches.
Mm-hmm. That's not what my pediatrician said.
And then what else we got, Andrew?
Yeah, well, on top of the drinks that JP's making, those bourbon drinks are going to be delicious. We got a food drop today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we got Al and Lou from Three Goats Grill.
Al and Lou?
Yeah.
What do they got, Al and Lou, from Three Goats Grill?
I think they got
Where's Al? Al?
Come on in here, guys.
What you got? What do you got for us? Look at the boys.
Here they come.
If it's goats,
what's up, my man? How are you, buddy? Yeah, walk right around behind this guy.
What's happening?
There they go. So what do you got for us, my brother?
So out there, out there we got a nice.
That's a nice beard. He's got a good beard.
So first off, we like to let everyone know we're located inside the Port Richmond pub, local pub.
Oh,
just
look at
outside
that!
of Philly. Yeah,
that's awesome. So we love our local people, like our true Philadelphia
That's
people.
old North Catholic neighborhood.
That's where I live.
I live in North Catholic. So we're there 6 days a week. So out there, we got 6 of our best for you. Homemade cutlets. Reminds you of Grandma. Can't beat that.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Grandma. We love Grandma.
We got one called the Mama Cass.
That's
got a herb mayo pesto and pickled onion and fresh mozzarella.
Oh, my God. I love a Mama Cass.
Out there, we got what we call the Rowdy. Broccoli Rob, roasted peppers. All things that have to do with the neighborhood. And then we got the Yitty Bop, our most famous cutlet. That's been kicking off for us. That's got a rose sauce that we make in-house with fresh mozzarella, and that's our pesto and breaded cutlet as well. And then Lou will tell you about the steaks.
Look at this.
Hey, Lou.
What do you got, Lou?
What's up, guys? So we have just our normal cheesesteak, fried onions, Cooper cheese is our staple.
Right.
Orange roll.
Yeah.
We have a Inferno steak. So if you like spicy, long hots, cayenne pepper, Cooper cheese, fried onions.
Look at that.
And what else we do with
Inferno.
Yeah.
I'm an Inferno man.
Inferno's been a hit, so if you like,
And then we have our chicken cheesesteak.
Very cool, man. I love it, boys.
A couple wings for you too. We do
Look at this.
Homemade sauce, hot and honey mild. So
that's
enjoy it.
fantastic.
All the birds food. Go birds.
That's great,
Solid
man.
shirt. I like the shirt and the logo.
Yeah, I like the
great
shirt.
stuff.
There's three
Show
of us.
shirts.
There's 3 of us, me and Lou, and we got our other partner in there. So
Good for you guys, man.
doing our thing.
Once more, where do people get you?
Port Richmond Pub, right on 2601 East Venango Street.
I
6 days
love
a
it.
week.
Boys,
Second
I love
floor,
it,
second
man.
floor, yeah. Great pub, too. Great atmosphere, great staff, great crowd. Always come. Over 8 TVs, NFL Red Zone, catch all the games.
That's
We're
awesome.
that's
we're
a
there
spot,
10,
man.
10 o'clock on weekends, 8 o'clock during the week.
We love that, man. That's
And we can
fantastic.
DoorDash it if we want.
Absolutely. Uber Eats, DoorDash. Catch us Instagram, Facebook. Follow
That's
us.
great,
Yeah.
man.
Show some love, guys.
Yeah.
I
Thank
would
you.
love
Appreciate
fantastic.
you
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
There it is. That's awesome. That is very cool.
Here goes, guys.
This is a. All right, I need my cocktail. Look at this. This is. No, not for nothing. JP.
Yeah, he's a great
JP
mixologist.
is ridiculous.
He's like Tom Cruise in Cocktail.
He's ridiculous.
Wait, did I throw the? Hold on. Did you smell ginger beer in there? I don't think I threw it there.
No, I don't want the ginger
You
beer.
want ginger beer?
Nah.
Well, if you didn't put any of mine, I'll take the ginger beer.
You like the ginger beer? I know you would like ginger beer.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Steve the Pirate loves the ginger beer.
Yeah, he does.
What would he do back in the day?
He's a jester. He's a jester. Come on.
I'm not a bourbon man. I'm more vodka. I like a vodka.
That's delicious.
Is it good? Good.
Wow. You're unbelievable, JP.
That's right.
Wow, that is
He's
good.
ridiculous. My God. Hey, we got, man, that's so good. First of all, we want to thank our diehards for hanging out with us as always every day right here at PHLY. Thanks for being a diehard and hanging out with us and living what we live, which is Philadelphia sports. All right.
There's nothing like bourbon before 11 a.m. on game day.
Dude, I know. I just was
It's a good burn.
Here's the thing. It's good. It's delicious. The
you
peaches.
like it.
Yeah. I'm excited for this game tonight, man. I'm just fired up. What we got, Black Gritty?
Yeah, I was about to say, since it's game day, we got BG here.
BG!
Oh,
Where's he at?
snap.
The nuts!
Oh, snap.
Where's Black Gritty?
Yo! First thing before I get into what's important, Andrew, those socks are not pirate socks, bro. I don't know if there's a violation code, but I've never seen a pirate like that before in my life, brother. So you might want to check with the congregation on that one. So let me just put that out there. JP saved me a cutlet, and let me get into the game, cuz it's Monday night. It's Kelce. It's Big Sick Nick. I don't want to hear nothing, okay? I don't care. AJ Brown ain't here. We still open for business, baby, okay? Smitty about to be out there. It's the Goddard game coming. Saquon still playing. I don't care what goes down. It's our home opener. The emotions are going to be high. The lights are going to be bright, and it's Monday night. We got to get this George W because I don't want to hear nothing but it. Jalen Hurts, you got the dude with the statue, the GOAT out there, brought a championship home, MVP of the Super Bowl, highest rated. You better go out there and show you can do something tonight, Jalen. I don't want to see no mistakes. I want to see you balling. I want to see you wiggling, and I want to have them in the seats tickle. Let's get this George W. Go, man!
Let's
Cheap
go.
seats. Cheap seats.
Killing
Black
it.
Gritty, E-Rock.
Oh, yeah, we on the internet. I got a job with you. Somebody gonna pay me. I mean, come see us Wednesday night with E-Rock and Jason Ashworth. Yeah, we out here in these streets. I see y'all. Save me that cutlet though, JP. I'm coming. I'm coming to grab one.
We got you the cutlet. You're the man, BG. Black Gritty.
Black Gritty.
Love it. Love it. All right. Before we get out of here, a couple nugs.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to
Just
do
some nugs.
Eagles and Falcons.
Yeah, we got some Eagles
Because
Falcons
our Rite Aid
highlights.
back in the day moment was this. This is pretty cool Eagles and Falcons
so
stuff.
we got three of them. We'll start in chronological order with the old one first. 2002 NFC Divisional Round. The final Eagles win at Veterans Stadium. They end up winning 20-6. There's a B-Dog crush Vic towards the end of the game, but I had to give a shout out. I always like the cornerbacks. And Bobby Taylor with a pick six in the first quarter set the tone.
Bobby Taylor. Oh, man.
Vic, little pump fake.
Is this exchange?
Now over the middle. Crumpler, what a throw, what a hit, what a catch. Algie Crumpler hung on.
Crumpler one.
But watch the little
By the way, Joe Buck.
Yeah, sounds
That was Joe
great.
Buck.
Big time.
Sounds great. That was the 2004 NFC Championship
Oh, here we go.
game.
I was going to say, that was the link that field.
Okay.
It's an easy choice for him after a while.
Yeah.
Pressure put on Vic and the interception.
Love Bobby Taylor.
Bobby Taylor.
Bobby Taylor, Troy
Bobby
Vincent.
Taylor
Wow.
in the end zone for the touchdown.
Look at Seattle.
Dan Reeves told us last night we're not good enough of a team to overcome turnovers. They had 5 takeaways against the Packers last week and a very costly interception returned 39 yards for a touchdown by Taylor.
And Bobby Taylor, he has played at a Pro Bowl level for several years, but he hasn't had the interceptions right there. He just jumps the route by Sean Jefferson. Mike Vick threw that ball drifting.
Yeah, we go to 2017 at the Linc.
Ryan rolling to the right.
You know, my man Green Goblin all over Julio Jones here.
Flips one into the end zone with a prayer in.
Oh, that was the greatest.
Came up big.
Super Bowl bound,
that
Super
was
Bowl
the
bound.
greatest.
Mills covering.
They show it like he fell, but he kind of got mugged and they didn't call it.
Julio Jones falls down.
I love seeing him. He's like a villain.
The fullback wide to
Couldn't
the left.
believe it, man.
Look at this. Jalen Mills, who has come so far here in his second year. He falls down. Now watch Julio going to get it up. Ryan still wants it, and they can't quite get the
Smart play by him.
completion.
Even if he had caught it, take a look where his feet are. I'm not sure he would have come down in bounds.
Oh my God, how close!
Love that. Man.
So close.
That was so close. Like the whole world is different if they don't beat the Falcons.
Yeah, got so lucky.
Right? Like our whole world.
Everything.
The Falcons, and it's amazing. Like they are good vibes for us.
They are.
Because 04, the game that you talked about with the Crumpler head, the NFC title game that lets them go to the Super Bowl, that, of course, that was a huge deal. Remember, they were 0 championship games.
Yeah.
They had not won any of the championship games. And leading into that game, there was a nor'easter that hit Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right.
Where it was blankets of snow. And we thought it was a bad omen. That, it was the great evener. And originally the forecast was that it was going to snow during the game. And what happened was the storm was moving quickly, and it snowed all day Saturday. And Sunday morning, everybody was shoveling the Linc, if you remember. Yeah. And that proved to be a great omen as the Eagles were able to beat the Falcons. And
so Chad Lewis's shining moment, 2 touchdowns that game. And ended up hurting himself with a Liz Frank injury. He couldn't play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Great time, man.
Man, what a the Falcons, man. Again, between
beat up on these
04,
Falcons.
imagine 04, they don't beat the Falcons. We never go to Jacksonville, never have a Super Bowl.
Right.
And of course, the big one is 18. Julio Jones gets the ball. We don't go to the Super Bowl. We don't have a Super Bowl victory. We're out of our minds. Think about how nuts we would be in Philadelphia.
Thank you, Atlanta.
If all we had was just the 08 World Series.
Oh, man. That'd be rough.
Yeah, it would be brutal.
We would be out of our minds.
Yes.
We would be insane. Every Eagles, imagine, that moment. Listen, Jason Kelce will always be beloved because he's a beloved figure, right? But
thank God for our savior, Nick Foles, Philly.
Yes.
Game of his life.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I don't know if he was on drugs, but game of his life.
But if that doesn't happen, right? Imagine how different we are.
Yeah. No, you're
right.
right.
We're so miserable.
Part of what makes Kelce, on Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia, is the mummers get up at the parade.
Yeah, for sure.
And the speech.
None of this happens without that.
Hungry dogs run faster. Yep. Right, all that. That's what goes down in the lore.
Yeah. Yeah.
All thanks to the Falcons.
His whole trajectory is nothing like if that doesn't happen. You're so right.
Send it into pop culture. So we need the Falcons to make the playoffs this year, though.
Trajectory's probably not the same.
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the blessing. So tonight's a celebration of all that.
Let Nick hear it tonight, man.
Yeah. It's going to be an emotional night. Kelce back, as Joe Buck told us, he'll be on the broadcast in the third quarter. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Belichick probably wearing an Eagles jersey. During
the Bill's here. It's a star-studded night, man.
Yeah, dude.
Let me tell you.
The whole league's watching
It's a big deal tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. All right. What do we got? Andrew, what do we got?
I'm going 28-17 Birds.
I like that score,
I
actually.
think
for a Pirate, that's not a bad score.
I think Dotson has a big night.
Brown nose.
And Goddard. I think it's going to be a Goddard-Dotson night.
All right.
No, true.
All right. JP?
I got 34-17 Birds. I think it's another Saquon game. I think Jalen also makes some. I think the running game in general is going to be big, but I got the Birds 34-17.
34-17. I like it.
I'll go 31-13. I don't think this Falcons offense is going to do much. I'm going to say a pick 6 from our man, Nakobe Dean, tonight.
I like it.
I like that.
I like it.
There we go.
I see a Kenyon pick
I was
tonight.
gonna say,
I like
I'm
a
feeling
Mitchell
the
pick.
Kenyon.
I'm feeling a Mitchell pick tonight.
Yeah.
And I like your 31. I think 31, 10, 31-13. That's a good ball. That's a good ballpark.
Yeah, this offense doesn't impress me. The
I
Falcons
don't
right
think
now.
it's a good. Now, look, we got to be wary of what happened on Sunday. Yesterday was a weird day across the league, right? But I look at it tonight, and I know no A.J. Brown, but, again, with Barkley, they just have a different beast, right, to combat all that stuff.
A lot of emotions tonight.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to swing our way.
The Falcons may be good in 6 weeks, but right now, Cousins just looks
Now, I'd be
rusty.
disappointed if they lost this game. I would.
It's not gonna be fun tomorrow.
I like them. I like them tonight. All right.
Nice.
And look, and Franny said they're going to cover easily.
Yeah.
So I think we all have that
Boo
too.
the brain.
Yeah. All right. Boo
Make
the
sure you guys
brain.
go to the tailgate, by the way. PHLY Eagles tailgate, Uptown Beer Garden.
Uptown Beer Garden.
Let's do it.
We like, and you remember, you just walk in and hang out. Right.
Say dilly dilly.
I'm gonna stop by with the peg and tell her thank you if you see her with her hat on.
Go Birds.
Yeah.
All right. On this night, where Jason Kelce, Nick Foles, Saquon makes his debut on Monday Night Football. Doesn't get any better. We love you guys. Enjoy the game. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
We all silly like the mayor.